This program is rated MA. It contains adult themes, coarse language, sexual references, and violence.
All right, what's up, everybody? It's Open Comms. Whoa, I think I just got a little bit loud.
Your voice went up an octave too.
It might have been. Yeah, it might have been that. All right, so right off the bat, we just got a bunch. Dirk subbed. Vulcan S1, thanks for the sub. 8 months, and Die We Win Yet? Just subbed for 13 months. Thanks, guys.
I always forget to give my Bezos bucks when they expire, and then like the show happens, and I'm only going to do it during our show. So it was like, thank God you brought
I usually
that up.
do, but I've done it during Boat's show as well. But I can't get in fleet right now, Hype, when I'm running this shit. Anyway, so welcome to Open Comms. It's Friday, and we're all here. We're missing Brisk still, or not Brisk. We're missing Blastum.
We're missing.
Oh
Blastum
boy,
because
it's gonna be
It's
one
gonna
of
be
those
a good
nights.
night. I haven't even had anything to drink yet.
Yeah, the team that he announces for, I guess, is doing an out of state trip. They're having an out of state game, I guess, for the first time or whatever. So he had to be there for that.
Oh, nice. But yeah, so other than Blastum, yeah, I'm here. We got Dirk, and we got Rain, and we got Brisk. How's it going, guys?
I'm so excited to be back. I've missed you guys so
Yes, welcome
much.
back.
Like, this is like my first show in August, and then like I'm missing like I want to say maybe the next two for work, and I've just
Next
like really
two?
missed you guys. Yeah, like work's flying me
Just
everywhere.
quit.
It's crazy. No, I need the job, Drayden. They just gave me a raise. I can't quit.
We just got 3 subs, Rain. That'll pay for.
Well, they just gave you a raise.
Yeah,
it's like you really
They
have nothing else
obviously
to
like
look
what I'm
forward
doing.
to. So it's just kind of like
Don't you have all
just-
that even T money saved up?
We'll just
We
forward
don't.
that.
We don't make money with even T. We're like I don't even know what they're registered at, but it's definitely not for
Well, we just made $7 off these subs, so we'll send that to you.
Yeah.
to pay for
That should
what
be
like my
enough,
McDonald's.
Does it even cover that?
I think so. All I get is fries from McDonald's because they're really good.
That doesn't even cover an In-N-Out burger from Matani at Vegas. So.
Because they're terrible.
Which, by the way, I just want to say that tonight's show is not sponsored by Tito's, and it is not sponsored by Yingling Lager. However, I am having them both.
I got
We
you.
really need to work on that. We're losing money. We're
You
losing
scared
money
me
on the
for a
table
second.
here.
Drayden, Elo says to look at your Discord.
Oh,
Hey.
okay.
Okay, Drayden, I see the eVegas logo, but I don't see a timer. I see, like, what might be part of the background.
Oh, Drayden, you have to have the right window open on it.
Anyways,
Wait,
while
what?
he's...
Drayden, you're fired. Let's get McLeod back.
oh, there's McLeod.
Elo should also check his Discord.
There's McLeod. What's up, McLeod?
Hey, buddy.
See,
Oh,
see, it's like
Sunday.
we kind of have to have somebody from a really off time zone here because it's like those people who are awake. It's like so McLeod's back. We had a good chat last week. So
I have to shoot up with some heroin or something like that in order to keep myself buzzing for this.
But yeah, we are starting off. We are starting now with our eVegas countdown clock. We are now under 60 days. So yeah, we're gonna go with that. It's gonna be our. It's gonna be here every week now until eVegas comes. Well, it will be here once Drayden gets that freaking worked out. All that being said, eVegas is fucking coming soon. I can't freaking wait.
Hold on.
There it is.
There it is.
55 days.
Okay, so I have 2 tabs open. I have to open a different browser then for this. I don't know. Fuck it.
55 days, yeah, 55 days, 18 hours. That's until like check-in time
There we
on
go.
Friday. Like most of us are going to be there earlier than that, but whatever. Now it starts the freaking countdown because it fucking matters. I don't know what else we got freaking going on. I did order the banner. I ordered the banner for the live show on Thursday night, so that'll be coming. We will be giving that away again this year because I'm not carrying it back on the plane.
We still have to figure out how to do the live show and all of us get to the Goons dinner too. We have to
I'm not
figure
going
that
to
out.
the Goon dinner. Why would we go to a Goon dinner?
Yeah,
Why
well,
would we
some
go
of
to
us
like
would like to go hang out with our
Vegas?
The Goon
colleagues.
dinner is during the show. The Goon dinner.
It's that night. It starts an hour after.
An hour into the show.
after
Yeah,
the live show.
7 to 11, I believe, is the Goon dinner.
Right.
Because Rhiannon
4-hour
and
dinner.
Fishbone are going to that, but most of that time is like drinking afterwards. They said they're going to go there and eat and then come back and hopefully catch the end of the show. But I
We're
also
gonna go there and eat. I would think
they're
that what
gonna
you
go there
do
and
is
eat.
you
They're
just
just
like
gonna
stay
be there
for
for
an
the
hour
Goon
of the
dinner.
live show.
It's
and
at
then go
Fogo
up
de
and...
Chao, right?
yeah.
No. They're having it. Well, hold on. I do have an invite out to
He
Hyper
told me it was an
Viper.
undisclosed location. So
I do have an invite out to
Yeah,
Hyper
no
Viper,
thanks.
who's one of the guys
I'd
who's
rather go
hosting it.
drink with friends.
And I'm trying to get in touch with him to come on and talk about a number of things, but also the fact of kind of what they've put together, because it really is kind of a nice thing. It's not out at a restaurant. A couple years ago they did Fogo de Chao. Then last year they did the Bratwurst place or Oktoberfest or whatever the fuck it was. But this year they're having a private thing that is being catered. It's a barbecue meat fest, followed by, or including like 4 hours of open bar or whatever for like $60 for Imperium members. So that's a really good fucking deal. It just happens to conflict with what it is we do, and like we'll be completely freaking fried by the end of the show. So
Yeah.
whatever.
now, before we get off the Vegas thing, though, I have a question because I remember you were talking about that we might use the OC wallet to rent a cabana, and then possibly have a bunch of drinks out of the pool. So are we having like some kind of pool party event thing at some time?
Yeah, we're still trying to figure out. I know I want to do something.
Because if we're doing that, I had an
Something
idea.
besides condoms.
I had an idea that we were gonna because like the last few Vegases, I've always like taken some footage and then just made like a music
Cabana
video thing.
Cabana thing is during the daytime. Let me just say this: Cabana thing is during the daytime. That maybe we rent a cabana and anybody wants to come by and whatnot. It's like whatever. We're still not buying your freaking like expensive ass drink at the thing, but whatever. We may do like a cabana if you want to come up to the pool or whatnot. That's what one idea just for like normal freaking like you want to come like get some sunlight or whatever. I'm trying to get Blastum to also look into. Do you guys remember last year during the pub crawl, like the regular pub crawl, we started off up at the pool area and whatnot, and CCP was handing out beers and things like that. I'm trying to find out what it might be to like just get the pool area for even like a pay your own way kind of drinks thing, but at least you're like out in a place that's not just the bar downstairs or whatever.
Right.
So I don't know. We're trying to figure out some different things, to do.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Because I was just wondering.
We're gonna
'cause,
do
like,
something. I don't give a shit if I gotta just like throw alcohol at people, like and waste like $500 or something. But whatever.
Well, no, I would say we have the money to spend with that. But I was just wondering because like I wanted to do a bunch of video feed stuff, and what I was thinking instead of just doing just the generic music video thing, I wanted to film a bunch more, and then maybe not like have like a talk show setting, but like get some stuff going on, filming with groups and stuff, and then maybe if I get enough footage, maybe I'll do like an hour long like open comms like video
or something
to put out afterwards.
I got a great idea.
Oh, what's up, McLeod?
Instead of the cabana, why doesn't Drayden take us all to Denny's?
Dude, we could do it.
Yeah,
for
We
that,
could do
right?
that and then come back to the pool and swim right after we eat a bunch of syrup
what,
and shit.
what are we gonna do? Take a bunch of like open comms listeners down to Denny's
Yeah.
and,
Why not?
and
Yeah.
buy breakfast for hookers?
Let's do it.
Well, I could take them all back up to my
It'll
room
be
afterwards.
open
They could
comms
have.
and
They
a
could
plus
have.
one or plus two.
They could have the
like.
hooker experience, not with the hookers, but be the hookers. I mean, like that could be. Give him the old Drayden special.
Anyways, no.
He's not even
Down
drunk.
yeah.
This is like
hookers
regular
like
Drayden.
breakfast too. Of course they do. Yeah, it's like the sun comes up and they gotta get that. But no, we're not talking about like E-Vegas like the whole freaking show or anything like that. But I am putting up the countdown clock because we are on the countdown now.
It's less. Yeah, it's closer than I thought. I just keep thinking it's 2 months away. It's coming up. And as soon as Shooter shows up in chat, I gotta talk to him. I've been trying to get hold of him for days.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if he wants a smoking or a non-smoking room. I prefer the non-smoking, but I'm not opposed to the smoking if he wants that. But I want to know before I sign up.
I want to know before I sign up. But yeah, anyways, yeah, I don't know. That's it about Vegas. I mean, because there's really nothing new. There's really nothing new to talk about. Vegas.
You guys talked about how they're taking player presenters.
Yeah, we talked about that last week.
There's, I think, oh, okay.
Yeah, we talked about that last week, or I think it was last week when they came out with the stuff of just advertisements and player presenters and things like that. But whatever. I didn't. Well, I shouldn't say I didn't see anything last year, but like I didn't. I was definitely at the fucking cabana during the day. I don't know. There was
Dirk,
something.
why don't you do a talk on how to be an e-celebrity?
Yeah, no, I don't think that would. I don't think that would work at all. I would actually do a talk about like why you shouldn't be in there watching player.
Do it. You should do that.
You should do that. Like make it like the first presentation of the day too. So.
Yeah, exactly.
Then the rest of the day you'd be like, what the
Following
hell?
the keynote.
Just randomly pop in like 3 hours later. What the fuck are you all still doing here?
Although I think for a lot of people that it is something that that they enjoy. I mean, I just found that they tend to be lackluster presentations, and for the most part. I mean, like,
I don't watch them all, but
I do go and support the people that I know and whatnot. Who have the balls to get up there. Which I got to be honest, I'm not sure that I do. I'm not sure that I have the balls to get up there and do a presentation about something that I know for a fact somebody out in that audience knows a hell of a lot more than the person standing up on stage. But that being said,
what was it? Matterall's presentation when he was going over like the whole history thing. It was like I was in half of that stuff he was talking about, and he knew more about it than I did. It's like, oh.
Matterall freaks me out when he starts talking about EVE history. I mean,
Spaceboat
stuff he remembers. I can't remember what I did last week, and he's got stuff from battles from like 10 years ago. It still he remembers. I
Araya said I really dig the Spaceboat presentations, and those
are the best.
But
I want to see one. I've never seen one.
Here's the thing. I don't consider those player presentations. That's not Max Singularity talking about wormholes in EVE.
No, that's Charles White talking
like It's Charles White talking NASA space shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. The one where
amazing.
he talked about the EVE, like EVE physics and stuff, was actually really, really cool.
Yeah. I like the one the year before actually when it was the ARM mission, the one that's supposed to go pick up an asteroid chunk and bring it back, and then it's gonna they're gonna hopefully have it bring it back in orbit, and then they can send astronauts out to like actually grab it and get it and bring like a full sample back down. That should be pretty sweet. I think the mission has slightly been modified since then, but he literally that day he was like, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to talk about this, so I have this other presentation ready. But then his boss gave him the go ahead, like, yeah, you can talk about that now. We're going public with it, and so he, like, literally hours before his presentation, he got the thumbs up to actually give it.
Did you
that
guys
feeling when you have to create two presentations just in case one of them is still top secret?
Did you guys, speaking of like EVE players and like cool shit happening in real life, do you guys see that the first phase of Project Discovery actually had an impact on the way AI are used to discover cells?
Oh yeah.
Like,
that was really cool.
Like the citizen science part of it. So like apparently all of the work that EVE players have done within the Project Discovery minigame, for the first part where the cell identification and cytoplasma or whatever it was, actually helped really improve the AI that like doctors and medical researchers use to help people.
I would assume that the planet, the exoplanet thing will help. I mean, they're gonna have to be compiling all that data for quite a while, so probably won't get the full results for a bit, but.
Project Discovery found Babylon 5. Look,
that's super cool.
I'm sure a number of those crowdsourcing things are extremely helpful. It is really cool that kind of like CCP and EVE Online have partnered with some of these things. Because we've got the types of players that will sit there and just go bonkers in doing like I've done both of them so far. And quit after a while of just like being like, okay, this, interesting, but I got to move on to something, and there are some people out there that will really grind the fuck. I mean, like EVE players are just the grindiest fuckers on Earth.
I couldn't do like the long term grind, but the thing with me is like I'd see a lot of people. They'd be like, oh, I think this and this, and they'd kind of like be like, bam, submit it, bam. They were getting through them pretty quick. Me, I was just like, I'd spend like 10-15 minutes on a single one. Like, no. is that right? And I'd like be trying to like perfect
No,
it.
Drayden, that
I
you're
was
doing
bad.
it.
I know
I
I was
couldn't
doing it
make
wrong.
it
I'd
work.
spend like an hour and get like 3 of them done. It's like, and I missed 2 of
We're
them.
some Eve player is gonna find an exoplanet, and then like it's gonna alert them that we found it, and they're gonna invade Earth and just kill us all, and it'll be an Eve player's fault.
Are they gonna? We gonna
Now,
call them
chances are
Jovians?
the Eve player is going to be like, well, technically I found it, so I should be able to put down the first TCU.
It should be my name, and I'm doing PI on it too.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I think Project Discovery, I mean, everyone gives like, saying it's boring or it's easier, it's whatever, not worth it. But it's definitely worth if you're sitting on a gate waiting for FC to say jump, or they're like, oh, hold on the Titan before you bridge, because like you can get shit done in 5 minutes. The next thing you know, you're probably having in Marshall, which is like what, or 10 bill or something like that. So it's not like a complete waste. It's pretty decent.
The game within the game.
For sure.
You gonna do a shot?
Yeah, I gotta think about what we're doing a shot 2 though. Aren't we supposed
You know
to
what?
do a shot 2 stuff?
Fitted
Fuck
is
it,
I mean,
I'm
we
gonna-
could always do to Vegas, but there's gonna be
I'm gonna
plenty of
call it
shows
since I've
until
got a fresh fucking bottle here, and I
Citizen
really
science.
was not planning on drinking shots at all tonight, but I had one of those days.
Oh right. Oh
What do you
yeah.
mean, Derek?
Yeah. What?
Sorry, I had
Dirk
to
had a
reach
big
away
day today.
while I opened it. Yeah, I had to drop my daughter off at college today and like say goodbye, and know that it wasn't just away camp. So so that was actually like a really proud moment that like this is what she's now going to do. But man, just like sad knowing that like as I walk by her
not at
room,
home.
empty room,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm glad that her room is a lot emptier than what it was before, in a way, but like in a different way. Yeah, so whatever.
Well,
not that I'm doing a shot to my child, but this is just what we do on this show to recognize things. I am doing a shot to the fact that I somehow or another managed to raise a pretty decent child, so I'm kind of happy about that.
Shouts to Baby McDirk.
There you go.
Yeah.
What do we call her?
I call
I've
her
always
Baby
called her
McGurk?
McGurk Jr.
McGurk Jr.
McGurk Jr.
Baby
Is that it?
McGurk.
All right, Baby McGurk. I like McGurk Jr.
But yeah, what I saw a lot of people saying though is that after a while, you and the missus will be like, "Nice, the kid's gone." All the time.
it's like okay, that obviously exists. Our lives are freer, I guess, to to some extent, but there just is that whole thing of person not like right there anymore. Yeah, the whole empty nest thing. Yeah, I'm quite certain that Mrs. McGurk and I will use the fuck out of that time. But
Just call her every now and then or text her.
this is the kind of the crazy thing, right? Because
Send her money.
I remember my mother telling stories like after she dropped me off. It's and after you get through the jokes of like she was like, oh, thank fucking God, he's like out of my hair or whatever. And back then it was something we were kind of joking about today. They don't have a phone in their room. Like not even a phone for the front desk to call them and tell them that like they have a guest at the front door of the dorm,
It's
or
a
like
cell phone, Dirk.
like these kids are so
Did they
much
get rid
more
of the
connected.
phones or something?
I mean, even in my own house, it was like she would text us. She would literally FaceTime us from like her room and whatnot. So it's kind of like, I imagine
My wife
that
and
to
I
some
text each
extent
other
it's
all
not
the
going
time
to
in the
change.
Yeah, I don't do that in the house, but I mean, it's weird that the dorm doesn't even have a landline at the desk. But
No, I'm not saying that they don't have a landline at the desk, but like, okay, so like when I went to
Landlines are
college,
just
we had
an archaic
a
thing now.
landline in our room that we couldn't call out of unless we used a calling card. Okay, but like there was also a payphone at the end of the hallway. It sounds like I'm in fucking prison. Okay, and now it's like they've just got every last bit of connectivity that like you don't even need a phone in the room. But my wife was asking, she's like, but what if you have a guest at the front door? How do they let you know you have a guest down? And she's like, and I'm like, I don't know, maybe there's cell phone numbers on file, or maybe it's if you're going to visit a
worked in a
friend in another dorm
dormitory-
that you have to get in at, like
No,
they're
no,
like, hey,
having
I'm
worked in a
downstairs, come
dorm.
get me.
No, having worked in a dorm, like we didn't have any numbers. We
Oh
didn't
my
have
God,
any
you were an
phone
RA?
phones. No, I wasn't an RA. I was just
Oh,
a desk assistant. But it was literally like you pull up their file, you call the cell phone. Maybe they answer, maybe they don't. Maybe you call the roommate, maybe you don't. But yeah, otherwise, like but at the same time, our dorms were free to walk around. So as long as it was during hours, anyone could come into the building and walk around and hang out.
You know, and I was not an RA and already. I actually ran all of the buildings at GW when I was in my master's
What
program.
was that? Like the director? The
I
residence
was like
hall
the
director?
I was the assistant director of residence hall operations.
Nice.
So I have no idea. This was 20 years ago, so I have no idea that I never knew they didn't do front door stuff anymore because we had front doors. Everybody always had your name plugged in, so they'd have to search through the name and then hit the button to get buzzed in. But then you had to sign in at the front desk too and show your ID so they knew you were a student and sign in.
Although what was really funny
light
today
security.
was that the outside front doors were open because obviously, you know, freshmen were moving in and things like that. But the inside front doors were, well, they were open if like a stream of people were going in and out and shit like that. But they were closed the second time that we went in. And my daughter's like pulling on the door and she's like, you know, why isn't this open? And we're like, because you got to like flash your badge in front of the thing. It's called security. You know, they're not just going to let people in.
Correct.
Yeah, I never stayed in a dorm, so I don't really know dorms are
I
like.
love dorm life. It was so much fun.
I
Dorm
lived-
life was fucking.
I
I
lived
met
in an
my wife in the
all-female
fucking
dorm
dorm,
for
man.
3
I was
years.
running down the hallway playing fucking laser tag, and a buddy of mine came around like the end of the corner, and I like dove into a room, and there was the woman I ended up marrying.
That's a weird love
That's pretty
story.
awesome.
I'm telling you, that's like that is
That's
a
so
100%
cute, though.
legit fucking like story.
Yeah,
My wife lived in the dorm next door.
I had
I
the
was in
whole
a single
laser
room
tag
dorm,
outfit on too.
I lived.
and my wife was in a dorm in like the biggest student dorm on the East Coast. It's got had like 3,000 or 4,000 people in it, and she was in like a 6-person room.
I
I used to go see her.
I lived like
Jesus.
25 minutes from the campus, so I just drove to school every day.
Dirk, how far away is your daughter at? Is it just like a couple
Like
hours
an hour and
from
a
you?
half. She's down around Philly.
Oh, Dirk, you're such a baby. She's like within like day drive distance.
Oh no.
She's gonna be coming home to do her laundry.
She
dude.
is.
Yeah!
She is. Well,
No, don't
no,
let her do that.
No, because
Don't
I
let
have
her do
told her
that.
I don't want her coming. Look, I sent her down there with like 80 freaking laundry pods and shit like that. I'm like, don't bring your shit home. I'm like, you need to clean your own shit. Learn how this works. Okay. But yeah, obviously, and the worst part is next weekend's Labor Day weekend. So she's like, I'm coming home next weekend, and I'm like, really? Why don't you wait like a couple of days and find out like what other people that you meet are doing? Who knows? Maybe there's a group of people that are going down to the shore for the weekend or something like that. It's like, don't make a commitment to back home and then like, forego kind of, that experience of the new people you meet.
And the best way to meet friends, honestly, is just like literally leave your dorm room door open. Like that's how I met my best friends through college. It was like they were walking by.
Is that how you did it? Is that how you did it?
Yeah,
right?
I left
You
my
left
door
your
open
door
and they're
ajar.
like, "Oh, are you playing a video game?" And I'm like, "Yeah, you want to play?" And then like we played Halo for 3 years. So yeah, that's kind of how it worked.
Halo.
Yeah, me and my friends played Halo, and we lived right under like the director of the hall, so she would come down at like 3 a.m. and be like, "You guys need to calm down," and we were sober and like screaming in Halo. It was so much fun.
But anyways, yeah.
Halo.
So that was my day today. Was like going down there and like hauling shit in. I got to give big props to them for having like the whole process like set up way better than what I experienced. Well, I was there a couple weeks earlier for football and whatnot, so it was like my parents literally just dropped me the fuck off because I wasn't moving into the room that I was going to be in. I was there early for Hell Week, and here it was like. We had to go in. My wife's like helping her set up shit, and it was like I tweeted out a picture today, and there's like this nasty thing hanging on her wall that I just don't like. But whatever, she wanted a wall decoration and thought it looked cool. And I'm sitting there like getting her hooked up on the Wi-Fi and making sure that like all her shit is working for her laptop and her phone, and like she's completely connected and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, so whatever. I'm fucking old. I got a daughter that's old enough to go to college. Whatever, Proud dad.
Nice.
But I'm sad.
That's
What,
so cute, though.
What's she going for as a major?
She's going for the worst major that I could have ever
Art.
freaking chosen.
Art history.
History.
Now,
English.
fucking undeclared.
Philosophy?
She's
No,
undeclared
Undeclared.
at the
no,
moment.
undeclared.
She's
is
a
better.
freshman. It's fine.
It's
Don't
way
do what I
better
do.
than anything
At least
else.
it's not committed to something stupid, but it is still one of those things where it's like, look, I told her, I'm like, you got the first semester to figure your shit out because everything after that is like an extra course you're gonna have to take either over a summer or a
The
winter
first year,
or like
she's
in a
fine.
fifth year.
The first year she's fine because I fucked up when I was in school. Instead of getting all of my basic requirements out of the way early and then focusing on the stuff that I
You
like.
went straight
like,
into journalism
I
and
said,
then
"No,
found
I
out that's not
want
what you were
this."
going to do?
I did like all kinds of political classes early, and then I had my Navy ROTC stuff, which ended up not meaning anything. So I had to tack on another year and a half afterwards because I didn't get all my requirements done. I was taking like rocks for jocks, literally like my 6th year of college, because I still had one science credit that I had to finish or I wasn't going to graduate.
Yeah, I did all my required ones, and then like, so I was accounting, so it was like business classes, and then by like senior year, it was like advanced tax, advanced economics, and then I was like, I'm gonna do sign language class because I want to learn how to like speak sign language. If that's the
I'd
proper
like to
term.
say
But it
thank
was
you to
super
whoever
fun.
my calculus professor was sophomore year who gave me a D that I did not earn, because otherwise I would not have graduated. So thank you.
But whatever. The only thing more boring than talking about eVegas too early and scaring off that one guy or whatever. Or,
One
or
guy's a
maybe
little
other people.
bitch. Ignore him.
Hey,
Wee, we're
it's not
talking
that,
about
it's not that. It's not
Vegas.
that. It's is more talking about couldn't we have all been more back in our day? But whatever. So why don't we scoot it back over? I'm like riffing here while I fucking roll up and look at some show notes.
No, I guess we have to talk about Eve, right?
Well,
okay.
What the
Ellie
fuck
Tournament?
is everybody whinging about Aura for this week? Like, and I understand that when you log in, like that bitch pops up in like her little place and whatnot, and you either X out of it or you don't. But like,
I don't know
like,
what the complaint.
there seems
Look, I
to
mean,
be
I'll
a
be honest.
lot
I
of,
brought
like-
the complaining up. I brought the complaining up today in our CSM meeting and said, "Hey, can you guys give us a timeline of fixing Aura because everybody's going batshit?"
what do you mean
But
fix it though?
I haven't
What-
had a problem.
What is fix it? They came out with something that Aura is like connected to.
Well,
Aura pops up,
but it's
you
not
either
supposed
X
to-
out of it
it's-
every time you log in,
it's
or
not
you do
supposed
the
to
one
do that.
thing you have to do, which is stop the fucking tutorial.
It's not supposed to do
Do you want me
that.
to link you
I
guys?
never had it. It came up the first time I logged Brisk in, and it's never come back.
I was
And
gonna
all my
say
other
CCP
accounts, I turned it
Lebowski. He apparently had a PSA about it. I posted it in Skype. But like when I logged in, I saw it and I clicked on the opportunities things. I said skip tutorial, closed it, and like I haven't seen it since.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I do every time.
No.
like, I
I will say
alter
this:
anything
2
like that.
hours ago, I did see some tweet back and forth between Karker and a Tweet Fleet person out there or whatever, where they said they don't have the option to turn off the tutorial, and she said that may be because you began the tutorial at some point, and therefore she's like, but it's going to be fixed. But it seems like there's just
Right.
like even like before that, there was this incredible amount of like, I can't figure out how to get out of this death spiral of Aura's always there.
There's
Or
almost
popping
all
up
like
totally
the
screws
thing
up
I've
my
seen.
botting fleets. Poor
the thing-
King.
Yeah, King's like, my botting fleets, man, Aura's fucking them up. Which we'll get to botting fleets later, but
Yeah, I mean,
Well, I
There's
could
always
not
an option
believe
to
how
ignore.
many freaking Reddit posts had to be about Aura today. I mean, there was Aura shit feeding. The whole front page was like all Aura crap. And everybody kept upvoting it because they thought it was funny.
they just kind of like feed off that stuff, though. It's like when
They
people get,
they
when
feed
people
off
get
it,
on a
they
meme
meme
and
off
whatnot.
it. Yeah, they feed off it, they meme off it. It's just the Reddit culture.
yeah, the fucking noisy. The people having problems with Aura are the same people who ensure I have a job. But
Oh, creamy smooth. I'm not
about
fucking
right.
drunk yet. If you'd like to wait around for a little while, though, I will fucking eventually get there.
But I mean, everything in Eve, there's any of the pop-ups, they always have a "Don't show me this again." Now maybe the Aura doesn't. You have to do the whole go find it. But I mean, you just
Just a
gotta do
couple
it that
clicks.
one time.
I mean,
yeah, it's
it'll
like
be
you do-
fixed hopefully when they
It happens
when
once.
they
You
do the
click a few
update or
times, you
updates
never
on
see it again.
Tuesday. They'll knock it out. But I don't know. I was just upset because it knocked all the Jared Dale hauling stuff off of the front page of Reddit.
Well, I mean, what are they supposed to do when they have something that is pretty much, okay, 80% of their most recent release is related to agency related type stuff and whatnot with this Secrets of the Abyss stuff. Are they not supposed to have kind of the Aura thing that is related to that pop up?
Well, the thing is, like, anytime a company like,
Or should people just be able to like disregard Aura from now until the end of time? Should that be an option?
well, no, because here's the thing: anytime they update a part of the code that, like, probably I would have guessed this, Anytime they update something in the code that affects a specific thing that has a pop-up, it probably reverts that pop-up setting to its default, which is the not, like, is to actually have it pop up, and then you have to reset it to ignore it every time. But
well, the thing is, I think
it's not like they update Aura all the
it
time.
was that this was a new player experience thing. It was, you know, here are the new combat tutorial missions that you can do. So it's not like, you know, it was stuff that most players that have been around a while are going to use. The other thing that I figured out was that people have started running all of these tutorial missions to rapidly get ADMs up higher in some systems, because you can burn through those little noob frigates really fast. So it's just, some of this stuff is just it's you know, as usual, players are being edgy about it because they can.
It's, yeah, and also it's like I said, it reverts back to the default thing. But also, I bet it's also because when they have a new section like that, they want it to be apparent to everyone that comes in, whether they're new or not. Just be like, hey, here's this new thing. Just make sure you know where it's at, and then you could choose to ignore it or not. But they would rather have it like be that way than it be automatically ignored off the bat. And then if you're like, wait, where's the new stuff they just came out with? And now you have to go through all your different settings and try to figure out where the fuck that is. Because it's probably harder to try and find it and activate it than it is to just click that one thing and say like, don't show me that again.
I don't know. If people have an excuse to complain, they're going to complain. It's just how it is.
People complain about anything though, too.
People complain when they move a button. Like when they move.
That was the other
when
thing.
They moved the undock button. There was holy hell to pay on CCP.
Dude,
they literally
was
just
fucking
moved it
huge.
once.
That was literally the most mind-boggling thing for almost.
Well, it's because
I'm
it's never been moved since the game started.
Literally every Eve
I couldn't figure out how to undock for like the first half hour after I started playing again.
It was like Microsoft, like, because
What the hell is the
it
undock
actually
button?
happened like not too long after, or like around the same time or whatever, as Microsoft fucking with the start button. You know, so it was kind of like, you know, when that happened, that just screwed everybody's mind. Nobody knew how to undock, not just NC or like anything, but like literally everybody didn't like know how to undock.
FC's like, all right, everyone, undock. FC break. How do I do that?
People are clicking on shit like ensure ship. They're like, what the hell's going on here?
Oh man.
But yeah, anyways, yeah, there has been a lot of whinging about Aura, but like whatever. Like there was really a simple way of fixing this for most people. Apparently, there are some things out there that are like screwing up, but it is going to be fixed. You know, the bigger question is what I was asking before: should you be able to just disable Aura and not have any tutorials about anything ever again? Like be the thing, like, you know,
Only if it's easy to turn it back
Aura
on.
forever for me.
I feel like only if it's easy to turn it back on, you're gonna have some idiot who's like, "Fuck Aura."
I'm just wondering if they, because again, I don't know how coding works, but I don't know if they can do that. Because maybe because they would have to look at what your settings were before.
Why can't it just
and
be a
then
checkbox? We're talking about zeros and ones here.
I know, but the thing is, like, when they redo a whole function or a bunch of functions that are involved in a certain
it's
part
not really
of
a
the
bunch of
coding,
functions. If you never want to get a tutorial about anything again that is like related
well,
to Aura
the don't
up,
show me it again isn't a function. That's just, like you said, that's just a variable. But when they're redoing the Aura stuff, they are redoing a bunch of functions, adding new functions, all this other stuff into the coding. And when they do that, are they able to, like, it might be a shitload extra work to go and find out what your old setting was and then port it over to I don't know how it works, but I mean, I'm just saying that might be the reason why, is because it's a pain in the ass. Whereas they could just revert it to the new default.
I just don't think that Aura should show up like, Aura shouldn't show up like, you know, like as you log in, right? Or as you do, like, whatever makes her like jump up and go, hey, okay. Like it probably shouldn't be something lame, right? It should be like, if you're in the middle of something important, that's when she should be like, hey, is now a good time to talk?
Yeah. All right, Stacy's guy is saying they can do that as long as they keep the words the same. Yeah. So, I mean, if they keep that same variable, like you said, it's just a Boolean variable.
Hey, you were going to light that sign now. Is now a good time to talk?
I miss the old Aura.
God, I like the old Aura voice.
I'm fine with... I don't really... I've never been a person that's, like, so focused on, like, Aura's got to be this specific way. It's like... It's
I miss when she laughs at you when you die. That was funny.
Is Aura Creamy Smooth? Is Aura single? Probably. Although there's enough freaking role players in Eve who are probably like, oh man,
Well,
no,
I think
I'll
I think
take you
for
out anytime, baby.
I think the one thing we can actually be guaranteed, well, a lot of the redditors can probably say is that Aura's pretty needy.
She can be.
She is kind of needy.
She's needy.
Rowan,
She does not know when to quit.
Rowan would say, so is Aura gonna be like Clippy now? Fucking Clippy.
There you go. Exactly.
Okay, now
She won't be.
Clippy was
Aura's going to be the Clippy of Eve.
I think Clippy was the worst thing Microsoft has ever thought of in their entire life. And they came out with Windows ME, and I still think that Clippy is worse.
I think Windows Vista was probably worse than Clippy.
I don't think so. Unless Vista included Clippy, then maybe.
I think it's pretty hard to ever say that like anything is the worst thing that Microsoft has ever. Like, it's really hard to like get down that road.
Fucking Clippy's gotten me through some shit. I don't know. Like, Clippy,
Aura should have themes: impatient Aura, sexy Aura, grandma Aura. Oh Jesus!
Windows
There should be an
3.1
Aura
was
with a
solid.
There's
I like
like a
I like
navigation system
3.1.
where like you can change your voice and like you know do all kinds of stuff, right? Like those were options like years ago on navigation units, right? It's like how can you not change Aura just a little bit to like I don't know be that thing you want to hear?
If they gave her if they gave her an Australian accent, I would want Aura all the time on my.
I would make.
I would put as much things that involved Aura.
What if Aura yelled at you like a Scottish woman?
I like Scottish
we
too,
need
but
to
I'm telling you,
have-
like
do we
Australian accents are
Have
the
Eve
best thing in the
players
world.
do voice, do
yeah.
voice like covers for Aura, and then like get paid an ISK every time someone uses it. So you could have like your favorite FC yelling at you.
Do we need to have Aura ASMR?
Oh Jesus!
Oh hell yeah, dude! I would.
Oh my god.
You could have like an Eve app where it's just or ASMR, like you just go to sleep to it. I'd fucking listen to that.
We're slowly wandering into Matterall's latest podcast territory here. If you guys haven't listened to it, Matterall did a Talking in Stations podcast with Carneros and Andy Growing and Scott Mesner from PC Gamer, and about halfway into it, they start talking about all the different sex groups that are in all of these different online games. It's pretty amusing. Go check it out.
What the fuck?
Yeah, they do that, but like that's a bit of a big
Matterall,
stretch. That's a bit of a big stretch from ASMR to like weird sex groups.
Can you define ASMR for the people out there that don't like know what that means?
It's audio something.
Sensory.
Audio sensory something. I don't know what it stands for. It's basically. A lot of people think it's just whispering, but it's any kind of sounds that is
Autonomous
supposed
sensory meridian response.
There you go. Yeah, it's supposed to be
Yeah, there you
sounds that when your brain hears it, causes like a physical reaction, like a either calming, also like a physical. It could cause like tingling on the back of your neck. Like it's supposed to cause like things.
Physical reactions, like some kind of physical or psychological reaction.
Yeah.
I've listened to one because for science, I was like, I gotta find, and it didn't
For
work.
science.
Of course, right.
It didn't work for me.
That's the same reason why he uses when he puts
I have to.
Pornhub up.
Yeah, I have to wonder what I have
We'll do a
to wonder
shot.
what kind of stuff you tend to you call as for science.
Anything's for science. I mean, anything that can be documented and recorded is for science. So
I understand, officer. I was speeding, but it was for science.
Yeah, but no, it didn't work. I listened to it for about 10 minutes. I was like, I don't know. I just hear whispering and like clacking, like people making clacking sounds like on pieces of wood and
King
stuff.
Aries is like, I love ASMR unless you know what I look like and you're attending Eve Vegas. Anyways, all right, we're gonna bring it back. Rain is back this week, and apparently it sounds like she's only back like shots. And apparently it sounds like she's only back for a week before she's got to like fly out to I don't know like
2 days,
probably like some lame city or some shit.
Where are you going?
Denver for work.
Denver's all right.
I was there this week. I'll be there next week, so I'm here Saturday and Sunday for 24 hours.
No. All right.
That's good.
Yeah.
You made
But
it.
AT, I was in the AT. I was in the UK.
Tell us how
anyways,
that went.
yes,
I want to hear about your AT.
You were over in the UK. You were there. You were there representing the women class of Eve in the Alliance tournament. What I want to know here's the thing, right? I don't necessarily want to talk about the Alliance. We can go back and we can talk about a little bit about who won last week because when we did this show, that was still undecided. We were going into the final day the next morning.
The Yankees won, right?
It was something with an Hydra in it or something like that.
Hydra?
Is it the Yankees or was it the Patriots? It's one of those teams that wins every time. Okay.
Yes,
Vidra
Reloaded won after beating Triumvirate in the semifinals and then going on to beat the winners bracket group of Hydra, or Hydra Reloaded. Anyways, it was a good tournament. We gave massive amounts of props last week, Rain, just so you know, to the coverage by the Alliance Tournament coverage team this year from EVE-NT and Plus 10 Gaming. What do they go by for this, by the way? Like, so I don't say both of those names at one time.
So technically the title is EVE-NT, but it's under the umbrella of Plus 10 Gaming. So the brand for EVE that we have is EVE-NT.
So the EVE-NT subdivision of Plus 10 Gaming.
Yeah, if you want to consider it like that.
Man, damn. Fucking Nash Cadaver has got himself like a monolith going.
Him and Bay RJ, like, they just look so... You could see him on camera, like, once or twice, but they had put in so much work into the Alliance Tournament, like, running the production, making sure everything ran smoothly. Like, that's why when you guys watch, there may have been, like, a couple small technical glitches, and you're like, oh my god, this is terrible. But compared to what it could have been, had they been underprepared, or, you know, this or that, like, with inexperienced teams or whatever. Like, we were in a professional studio. We rented out a professional studio. We had professional grade audio people. Like,
well, this is the same studio that they've used in the past,
every year in part. Right? Yep. Okay. Yeah, but in the past it was like, I think Nash or Bay had worked there, so it was one of those things of like, hey guys, you want to just like help us this weekend? This time it was like, hey, we're paying you money, that we're like hiring you as a service, like to take care of us. So like, I don't know if you saw, but like I was always in a dress. But many times within my dress,
yes, we did see that.
We did, and we noticed
that
on the Open Com
show, you're like fucking
because it freaked the hell out of me.
And t-shirting as first.
I don't think I've ever seen you in anything other than regular t-shirt stuff on this show.
Yeah,
so you dressing up was weird.
No, she's been in that dress with pockets on the show before.
Oh, Apal says we paid them every
and she's
year
been in her squirrel onesie.
The squirrel onesie's okay. I'm used to that.
But anyway,
like, with my dress,
point was they've been using this studio because they've obviously they've been doing other tournaments and things like that. And last year they did the prelims and and whatnot. They've been using that for a while, so so that's kind of good. And again, like I said, we totally fucking talked about the production quality last week. But I will say it again this week. Blown away by it. Absolutely high fucking quality, not just because of the studio you were using, but obviously the technical expertise behind it was really top notch, except for those moments like when they were playing when they were like on a short loop of the commercials, and it was like we kept hearing about the NC Dot commercial, and then whatever like came after that, multiple times in a row before it finally like unjittered and then moved on.
Yeah, I don't know about that piece.
You wouldn't have seen that. But what I kind of want to get to, and Epophany, we pimped you, since I know that you're in channel out there right now, pimped your freaking knowledge and expertise from last week as well. Last week, I'm like repeating last week. Anyways, because very high quality. I mean, like the entire thing. I know that the back end is something that is really hard to talk to, and maybe we need to have like Bay or whoever on to be able to kind of like talk about what goes into that sort of back end production type of thing. But the people on the front end, very high quality, and Epophany anchored that shit like a motherfucker.
It was great. I mean, that was badass. I give Epoch credit for that. I mean, you're on there for 4 or 5 hours at a time. That I've done similar stuff to that. It's hard. So and to keep it going and no dead air and ask good questions and keep people interested and make jokes. I mean, it was fun. You did a great job.
Yeah, and I mean, I was just like a small piece. I think like compared to like when I'm sitting at home, like I can have the schedule up, I have all these notes up. But when you're there, you're pretty much just like you're there watching the production and like you maybe are watching over someone's shoulder, or you're sitting there talking live. So there were a few times where like we had to like fix a mic or, adjust something. So like we wouldn't see a match. And so we were like, who won? How do we talk about that? We couldn't see the plays or something. But it was one of those things of like, you had to pull from the wealth of knowledge. You had to work together. Things went, I wouldn't say almost like 100% flawlessly as far as I know, based on like because of Bay and Nash preparing so much, and because of the staff that we had being so well prepared and so knowledgeable about everything.
And Apothany, I got you. Just hold on a second. But you guys keep talking.
Oh, I just sent him the.
Oh, you got it? All right.
Yeah, I sent him the thing. So yeah, Apothany's gonna be coming in here in a second. And I got a question I was gonna ask Apothany. I already sent a tweet out about it, but I'll wait till he gets in here.
But yeah, part of what I do want to hear about, we're actually going to get Apothany in here in a second.
Oh, we got Wild too.
Cool.
Hey.
What up, Wild? Hey guys. See, nobody can hear you whisper, bro. Only we can hear you whisper.
ASMR, do some clicking.
Anyways, Rain, I do want to hear a little bit about kind of like kind of what happened behind the scenes. Like you were there. How long were you there for? It was over
2 weekends. Yeah, I was gonna say like 10 days, I think is the number. So like I was there from like a Saturday through the following Sunday.
So like the commentating only goes on during the weekends. What's going on during the other time?
Like during the week or during the show?
Yeah,
No,
how long
like-
did you stay there?
Like during the week.
So
And we
there's,
got Hyper Viper here. We're gonna come back to in a
We're
second.
going to talk to Vegas again. There we go.
But no, for during the week it was like we were told we had free time, but we could help for things if necessary. So like a lot of times Friday it was set up, so like we'd get to the studio, we'd set things up. We maybe run some preliminary tests, but it was really just like getting all the equipment there and set up. And then, but otherwise it was like, I know like Nash was working, Bay was working, there was Kyle or Discreet Error was there. So he was hanging out with myself and Biohazard, but we were really there to like, kind of do our own thing if we wanted, or to help out as needed based on people's real life. I think a couple weeks ago when Black Bart Pirate and Lads were there, I think one of the guys was moving, so they were helping him move. Obviously after the production, like that Monday or Sunday, we would be helping tear things down. But I mean, it was just little things like that. It's kind of like when it's
I kind
CCP
of forget
hosts it
about
in
that.
Iceland.
The fact that because this happens on a weekend and because this place probably has shit going on during the week, that you guys actually have to like put it up and tear it down like every time.
Yeah, so like when I went there one time during the week, and we were like, it was like, I want to say like a meeting, but it was talking about, okay, what do we want to look like for the weekend with like, having the viewing party there versus like, us just kind of being in a studio. So we were like setting all of that up. I believe the guy's name is Ryan, who kind of runs Antenna, the studio. But like I had to like sign in to say who I was meeting, and we had to all use your life names. Like they were super open about letting us come in and hang out, but it was very different than just like walking in and kind of owning the place type thing.
And speaking of the devil,
You what up?
Hoth has joined the channel. What's up, dude?
Hey.
Hey, Apothany is
Can you
here.
guys hear me okay? This is the first time I've used TeamSpeak on this laptop.
Yeah, we
We
can
hear
hear
you
you.
great.
Jesus, man, we don't want you to go back to like 1987 with TeamSpeak or anything, but like
We shall use
Hey.
Ventrilo.
Ventrilo's the old school.
Actually, that's where this
I'm
show started on Ventrilo.
Yeah, I'm
so whatever.
surprised why Goonstorms is Ventrilo better than TS, because I don't know why GSF still uses Ventrilo.
We use Mumble.
GSF doesn't
Use
use
Mumble.
Ventrilo.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah,
Mumble is
sorry,
better
My
because
bad.
you can have more people and it's got
Although that would be really
Although
fucking funny.
same question applies: is Mumble better than TS? Is it better for like
No, I
large
hate
numbers?
Mumble.
I don't like Mumble either. I
Mumble
hate
is
it.
really like very much better for like the size of those numbers that you're talking about. TeamSpeak is a really great product in terms of the sound quality and things like
But it's
that.
probably
but
got a higher
it just
load.
can't handle anything at that scale.
Gotcha.
But anyways, Apoth, you came in here. Did you calculate how many hours you were involved with in terms of actual on-air broadcasting for the AT?
I could do the quick math for you. Are we talking just this AT, or how much time I spent on the ATM?
No, I don't mean like in your entire lifetime, which would take up more than a third of your
days.
living life. But like
Okay,
in this
so,
tournament,
if
I mean, you
we-
were on the table for a very long time.
Yeah, so like the days are like, so this year the days were pretty short compared to other years, so it was only 6 hours. And then if we assume that half of that time maybe is on match and ads and half is on the desk, which is a pretty reasonable count, because obviously not all matches go to time, then obviously ads can cut in. So that means that I'm on air for effectively 3 hours straight every time I do it, and I did 3 days this year of that, and then I solo casted the second day all by myself from home because there wasn't really anyone else around, and the first day I casted with people as well. So in terms of desk time, you're probably looking at 9 hours of camera is on me on the desk this year. But yeah, this was a super easy year compared to previous years.
That's
Are
awesome.
we getting more people? Because from my view, I love the AT. I think it's the greatest thing, and I like the esports of it. But do you think that we're getting more people? Because it seems like every year past EveBet, people just say like, "Who cares?"
I think that's pretty much just this year that's been a problem, and I think that's largely due to the communication from CCP and the marketing of the AT. You know, there's a big hubbub over would there be AT ships, and CCP kind of releasing whether or not the AT would exist at all pretty late, because obviously we were doing the transition from the production being partial
we should
EVNT
do
and
this
partial
shot for
CCP
Logi,
over.
bro. By the way, you should do it for Logi, bro.
Oh well, we just took the shot, but that was for
That's right.
Logi, bro.
Yeah, and also
we
there was
can
a party
in arrears
foul
do
on
it for
Dirk's
fucking
part.
Logi, bro.
Dirk,
Yeah,
there
took
was
a
a party
shot.
foul.
Yeah,
You
so
started
that was
drinking
obviously
before the
massive
rest
as
of
well.
us.
And I think a lot of people lost interest because of EVET in terms of spectating. But I think in terms of people taking part, I think that there are a ton of teams, if we took a AT15, that really want to take part in the A team and really love it. I think that this year was a bit of a downtick in terms of teams' participation because of there was kind of like a kind of a negative view of the AT because of the communication issues, because of the worries about AT ships. So fewer people signed up,
right?
Yeah,
But,
there were
yeah.
like sort of like 20 teams, 20, 30 teams, or is
Yeah,
that
I
a
mean
bit much?
everyone
Yeah,
got their
and
flex
then,
back.
and then
Well,
also
what-
last
what
year's
do we-
events got
Apophany,
really, really
what do you think
stale.
was the
like,
reason
people
for
were
that?
like, BC cores, blah, I don't want to
Well,
play in that.
but do you think like
Whereas
do you
this
think,
year
do you
we
think
had a
that
really
Oops, sorry.
Apop,
Whereas this year we had a really nice, diverse meta. I think it was a really great tournament overall, and I think that in the coming AT, as long as CCP say that it's happening early, like it doesn't matter about rule set, doesn't matter about like kind of super important details. As long as CCP confirm it happens, they give people an approximate time. They say Thunderdome will be up with plenty of notice. I think you'll get a ton of
exactly.
teams will have a feeders round.
Do you think it was timing,
EVNT.
Apoth? Hold on, Dark. Or Wild.
Just call me your name.
Do you think it was timing related to that? I mean, do you think it was the rule set? Do you think it was the changes they made this year, or was there a different form of apathy that may have been involved?
I think it's a combination. I think it's mostly a lot of people having a downer on the AT for the reasons I said. So the previous year's meta being stale, for news about it coming late, for all the hubbub that there was about AT ship prizes, for the lateness, for the worries about Thunderdome, for the loss of CCP Logi. I think that at the beginning of this year, there was a lot of worry about the Alliance tournament, and that means that when you're a team, when you decide when you're going to commit to the Alliance tournament, is kind of before they announce the Alliance tournament.
Did we lose any top tier teams this year that would have been in the running for kind
Ronin?
of the rewards?
No.
You don't think
Dunes.
Ronin? Ronin was a top 16 team like years past.
Yeah,
They were
but
the
I don't
only one
think
that dropped.
But I don't think they didn't play just because of the stuff. I think that they
Oh,
were
okay.
going regardless of the 20th this year.
The
Alright, I
So
got
is
you.
was
EVNT
Gorgon
going to
Empire
take
in this
more
one?
over?
So to answer that, no. Even T has taken over the production. The only thing that's left is the refereeing, and I could see massive amounts of fits of people being angry if official CCP run event was run by players.
Maybe,
So-
but
Oh,
I
yeah.
just look at all
EVNT
these
have
other
as much of the Alliance
esports.
tournament as CCP could ever possibly give us.
Yeah, but the esports part of it, I don't think that CCP gets or has done. Like you look at Fortnite, they came out of nowhere, even had a shitty tournament, but they at least still had that concept. And AT tournaments have been forever with us, and it's just it's those moments
Yeah.
together.
So the thing about the Alliance tournament in esports is that the Alliance tournament, and as you guys know, I love the AT as much as any other person in EVE Online, right? Like I'm
not
top
sure
tier
anybody
loving
loves
tournament.
the AT as much as you do, Apop.
But the Alliance tournament, under the way EVE works, will never be a MLG attending StarCraft 2, League of Legends, Fortnite esport. It is
Oh, yeah, never.
just
EVE
for
itself
so many
isn't those
reasons.
underlying sports
Back
to begin with.
in 8010-ish time, that was when CCP were kind of getting the esports bug. So that was about the time that StarCraft 2 was in its huge initial bubble, where tons and tons and tons of money was going to StarCraft 2. And that was the biggest esport at the time. And CCP, not necessarily because of that, but from what I heard from talking to Back in Alien, because the year after was my first year commentating, like around that time, it was like CCP were like, oh, we kind of like this esports stuff. And then it kind of came to a point where it became clear that that wasn't going to really work for the way EVE works and the way the Alliance tournament works. but CCP have never lost that interest in esports and bringing it into their products as a whole. So if
Well-
you look at the FPS they came out with, that I've even got its name out, Dust 514, that's it. They were looking at that as a potential esports avenue. And if you remember on the race of Valkyrie was going to be a big esports game if that took off as well. So I think CCP are
Cheshire,
super
Cheshire.
interested
Well, the
in
issue-
that.
That's all Cheshire.
The issue they have also is CCP gets these bugs of things like, ooh, flavor of the month, oh, VR, first person shooter, that sort of thing. And they really have the trouble of following up with it and getting it done
I
and done
think
well.
it's less flavor of the month. I think it's that CCP is a company that really enjoys innovation. So they're trying to push the boundaries of the new thing. It's not that somebody else does a thing and CCP are like, we're going to milk this for all it's worth. It's like CCP see an idea that's in its infancy and think, we can be a company that is one of the innovators that pushes this into the mainstream. And I think
And I agree
the
with that
VR is
100%. And I'll say flat out, look, if you guys don't have a Rift or whatever, and you haven't played Evoke, that game is awesome.
It
Or
is.
I had
Spark.
so much fun.
When you,
playing
Spark
when you
it.
is
fly by a
amazing.
wyvern on your first, when you fly out, that's the greatest moment. You're like,
The,
"Oh, this is real."
Exactly. I mean, you see all the iconic Eve ships and they're flying around. You're like, holy shit! Look, there's a carrier, and we're doing all this stuff. It's cool. I thought it was a great game. I wish that the VR market was better than it is.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Well,
not,
in the,
that's not CCP's fault. It's just the fact that the market
But to the
sucks.
esports, I think the Valkyrie could have had that opportunity. You're right about it. Just had a slow, a literally slim audience. But the AT stuff, I think we were on the right track. We may still even be on the right track. Like to get, you're right that it may not be the 25 million pot, but we all know that those great AT ships are what we, like everybody kind of wants to trade and have and does like those things. And also, it is a whole nother breed. Like it's like the top tier. Like after you've whelped about 5 Titans, what else can you do? And it's that year-long commitment to this AT stuff, which it kind of is the best. I think it's the only remaining elite best of the best.
Yeah,
So-
so I think the AT definitely has space for growth with Eve back to its previous height, and I think that if some level of betting coming back, you saw that already this year with the you could do the pick'ems like fantasy AT kind of
Yeah.
deal that came back, and
Do
I
you
think
just get
that
Reza?
that's
You know
probably
Reza, you can just
something
get
CCP would
Eve
like to
back
bring
for
back,
us.
but obviously they've got to worry about the lawyery stuff. And they've got to worry about people taking advantage of it, and they've got to be super, super careful in the current wider gaming, gambling problem.
Now,
I'm
So you're
sure
saying that
Brisk
if
is someone
people-
who can talk on the politics of that. With it was like Hawaii bringing something through, weren't they?
hold on, real
I don't
quick.
know.
By the way, I want to do a shot to Hawaii, who is a state that got hit by a
Oh,
hurricane.
it did. Yeah, it was
Unlike
Cat 5, wasn't
unlike
it?
Puerto Rico,
That's how I
where
spent the
didn't
last
get
2
shot
days.
by the
Bad,
road.
Hey,
Was it
hey!
Lane?
I said a state that got hit by a
no,
hurricane.
I
Hurricane
understand.
Lane, yes.
Okay, now, real quick before, because I was wanting to say something with this whole AT thing. We'll do a shot real quick.
I hope it put out the fucking lava flows.
Now, as far as the esports thing, I'm not gonna rehash because I've said it a million times with the whole people come and they see boxes. It's not that exciting. They don't necessarily know what's going on. So I think that as far as AT coverage, there could be betting and stuff, but that's not a focal point of any other esports necessarily. The pick'ems,
Vegas
the brackets
is
could be a
huge
thing.
over Dota too.
Okay, so
But
I
real
actually
quick, hold
read an article on this, and I think that what you're leading to is how we
I'm
have
going
people
into
be
camera.
able to engage with it, and how to have people care, and for it to be a narrative and a storyline that people who don't necessarily play care about.
It's
And
not
I think
even.
that's a lot on the commentators and on what I believe in strongly is the general EVE tournament literacy. And that is helped so massively by year-round tournaments. So there's always a tournament people have to be watching, so people are used to the lingo. It helps if just people are in the game longer, and I think it helps that when we have an established set of people.
Literacy is
to
something
really
I've been a
push the
huge
tournament.
advocate for in Eve.
Yeah,
I
literacy
also think
helps.
that, like
Can
when we talk
Jaden
about the
finish
meta,
his
because
point?
remember the other days when
Hold
we
on.
had the Balgorn, it actually sets the tone for the ships and how people are going to fight and what they're going to be fighting in to some extent.
Dirk,
Well,
stop.
okay,
it.
hold on.
Can
So-
Drayden finish his
So,
point?
what I was getting at though is like they need a new way to visualize like on screen what's going on aside because everyone just focuses on the health bars, but that's not enough because you have health bars in other games and that's not good enough. You want the visuals and like you want to see where the action is. And yes, this last Alliance tournament and even the one before that, they were getting better at instead of just kind of showing the whole arena because they're like, oh, well, they want to see everything. They were getting better at like zooming in on the ships of focus. but it wasn't always on point. And so I think and I don't know if they need like some kind of like spectator mode like client thing that can run a different thing. But hold on real quick. That if they could find a way to quickly, or maybe have multiple spectators and find a way to switch cameras between, like, you know, go to cameraman 3, go to cameraman 2, because they all take their turns focusing on different aspects, and
we
keep
do
the
that.
ship of it was a lot better than this AT.
Nowadays is getting so much. Do you remember when the ISD did it, and they were just like focused at the sun for 9 minutes? Like, P10 has done a great job. Like, we're getting so to the point that I think that if they keep this up, like, I think that there should be another movement. And I don't, you know, they have those.
If I'll speak to the cameras, the one thing that's very difficult for people on the outside to understand is that the camera work is very, very difficult. Like, when you're commentating, when you're even commentating and you have full control over your camera, you just miss. Very basic. Like, you'll miss a bombing run, you'll miss an amazing tackle play, you'll miss like an O'Neill's like barely escaping like a Hugenweb or some shit. And like people don't understand that. But the thing is like behind the scenes, like you were saying, Wild, like we've communicated and worked really hard. So like Biohazard, Equalizers, they have 2 to 3 cameras on field. We have CCP on field. We have the commentators on field. So there'll be times where like Biohazard or Equalizers, like they'll tell us, they'll be like, hey, MJD going off. And so we're able to then switch and start talking about that, even if we may notice. Or like CCP Fozzie, I know many times will give us like intel of like, hey, it looks like these guys are going to do a bombing run or this or that, so that we can like kind of wait and see what we can see. And so it's very difficult just to be able to portray that, because there's a lot of things going on at the same time, and you can't show everything. Well, it's near impossible to show.
So I kind of agree. That's almost the same thing of what happened with Fortnite, where they didn't have the capability to do the ghost of other people. So, you know, is that the evolutionary step where we become able to watch all of these cool things?
So there are a couple of ways in which you can tackle that problem. So basically, one of the things I believe the AT needs is, it's called Fancy UI. It's the thing you see with the symbols and the E-War and the health points and people's names and the bands and usually the picture of the commentators now. So if we could rework that, basically the problem boils down to is that we are trying to show a game that exists fully in 3D space. Pretty much every other esport out there exists in 2D space. Like there may be ramps, there may be high and low ground, but you are presenting a 2D plane on a 2D monitor, as in the thing that is physically on your desk. So that's actually relatively easy. However, with EVE Online, you have full movement in all 3 dimensions, which means that you're representing a 3D space with complex things going on a 2D screen. Now, there are ways around that. So one of the things I quite like is if you had a mini-map in the bottom right, you would have a top-down view and a side view, which gives a sense of perspective and distance regardless of whether you're zoomed in or not. And in a lot of esports, I'm sure all of you have heard that the best players and the people that really know what they're talking about, they will spend 10% of their time looking at the main screen and 90% of the time looking at the mini-map. That is a huge source of information. And then also other things such as I think that we can do a lot with, you know how in the client you can turn it on so that ship names are always shown? I think that you could do a lot more interesting information with that. And I also think that because, and I know this is technically possible, it's just really fucking difficult and take a lot of resources, is that if you replace the little box with a tiny representation of what that ship is. So they did a change to the overview, I think it's a couple of years ago now, where so it isn't just little arrows, we have actually different symbols, whether it's a battleship, a battlecruiser, or a cruiser, like in the regular overview in game. If you have an expansion of that just for the AT overview, so that then you have the tiny symbol that is very obviously a tempest or whatever instead of the box, then that is going to help so much massively as well. I think that there is a ton that can be done, but it's a question of having the resources to do it, and obviously it's going to take some time as well. And of course it's very easy to say, oh, give the AT more resources, and I know, again, I would love for there to be more resources available, but every resource you give to the AT is a resource you take away from the next Citadel rebalance as well. So it's like a super hard thing to do for such a niche market.
Two things that I would like to see. The first, I would think would be fun to jump in and see camera views of the different players and what they're doing. And just like show their screen. And I mean, obviously this is
Wouldn't
a
it-
delay, so it's not
That's
like it
so
would be
much
They
instantly.
would have to be
Intel.
personally
So much
streamed.
Yeah, I don't know
But I
if you
think
can
it
do
would be
that.
fun
Well,
to
but not
see
really
that.
though, because when you do an
No,
observe
no
off of
good
PUBG
team,
or something
no
like
good
that,
team
you're
would ever sign up to it. I can
Well,
guarantee you.
real-
no
real-
good
real-
team
real
would
quick,
ever,
Hyper-
But I think
any
if you had it like
circumstances, sign up
PUBG,
to
where
that.
you could just watch when you're dead, if you only had it in that enclosure, you could do it. If you obviously you're right, you would have to have a delay or to some extent something, but it would be very cool if you could see that.
All right,
Well,
real
if
quick,
somebody
Hyper,
could
hold on,
actually
Hyper,
play
when
hold
you
on,
died,
Hyper's
you
been
could actually like continue to look around like that. Oh, you can in your pod.
yeah,
until somebody
so
pods you.
Go,
and
go
then-
ahead,
yeah.
Hyper.
You're not allowed to pod.
Hyper's
No
been
potting
tr-
in the ET.
Hyper's been
But
trying
you
to
could-
go for
but
like
you
10
could do it
minutes, so go ahead, Hyper.
virtually. If you did this in the sense of know that you're playing a tournament game, you enter into like a shell sandbox where if you died, you become you can't talk, you can't do these things, and you see it a something. They could make this. That's the evolution. That's the next step, to make it into a game that people actually want to watch, not just little orange squares or green or whatever.
I think another progress that has been made, and this has been made by players, but they have a replay tool. I know Even T, I think,
Yes.
has developed the replay tool, and it's like not 100% perfect. You can't see everything, but it's still at least useful for when like something happens and the commentators didn't catch it or the cameraman didn't catch it. But then we can go back and say, okay, we thought we saw this, but here's what actually happened, and then you can kind of walk through it step by step, very slowly, so that way people back home aren't just like trying to scramble to see what's going on the screen with all the movement and the colors and people shooting fireworks and stuff.
We're
The
now
Yeah,
second
Chris, go
thing
ahead.
that I would like
Chris,
to
We're
say,
now, we're now
Tell
10
your
minutes
second
after
thing.
the hour point, which means we've only got 50 minutes to go, and we do have a couple of things here actually to to get to following this. So I don't want to move this along too fast, okay? Because I think it was a really great production of the Alliance tournament as it exists today. I want to talk about Jintan suits for for a
Yes.
moment. Okay,
Those were
I want
awesome.
to ask if they have measured up to previous years, and whether or not Dunk Dinkle's suit in an actual real world environment did not top them all.
I
Well-
thought Jintan's was more spectacular and like shocking compared to Dunk's, but
Because it had marijuana on it.
yeah, just because
Marijuana?
no one was expecting that. They're like,
Nobody was
Let's
expecting
do
it.
it.
I think
Like,
I
Looks
would
great.
expect that with Jin, but
the
I
gold
would
suit
say
I-
Dunks
when you
was-
Jin, you
last
could
year
expect
was
it.
like hard to top.
I'm pretty sure
If I
Dunks can
can-
be seen in space.
No, I'm
If I
pretty sure
can
Laz is like
transition
little
and be
fast. I
something
mean,
of a
you can't beat
narcissist.
Laz's fast.
I would
can
just
be a
like to say that
narcissist
I'm
for a
very
moment,
proud that I
went
think
for-
I have been the trendsetter. Everybody wearing ties and suits and stuff for the AT.
I
think
no,
that's- I think we know
that
why
happened
that happened.
last year.
Not
I
last
think
year.
that's.
If
I
I
think
can-
we know why that happened.
Your establishment suit type stuff, okay, like what Jin's been doing for the last couple of years has been completely on him. He gets total fucking props for that.
Same,
However,
same
Dunk
to credit
Dinkle
to Apoth.
with his
Apoth
My
has
Little
always been dressed in
Children's
fly.
Village suit, like
Super
was like a
tight
totally
shirts.
different thing. However, Apotny with the
Yeah,
vest
see, Dirk,
look-
I wanted to come on Open Comms straight after the AT because whenever I do the AT, you are the #1 fashion critic I have, and you're fair.
Dude, where
you're,
you
you're
in
firm, but you're fair. We started with the tight shirts and the tight shirt memes, and we ended that last year. I had a tight button down that I wore to the MR Championships, but now I've gone for the full tie waistcoat, and I need like an
Dude, you were
in-depth
sharp as
overdirt.
fuck this
You
year.
look great. You
Like
look
almost
like
to
an
the point
announcer.
of not being able to comment on it other than sharp as fuck.
You look
You know
like an
my
announcer.
favorite thing.
It's
My
perfect.
favorite thing every year is that Twitch chat always oscillates between saying how I'm a 12-year-old and how fucking sexy I am, and that is the
No,
weirdest
no, I think-
correlation.
Okay,
of two
that
things.
is-
I was just gonna go with like everyone's gay for Apoth until you put the 12-year-old in there. Then I was like, okay, I'm
Yeah,
not saying
exactly.
that.
Those are the two.
I'm not
names.
saying that,
You
although I just
combine
did,
them,
so-
what does that say about the Eve community?
Yeah, so there's one thing I want to say about the Eve NT, or not NT, but the Alliance tournament that I think needs to be expanded on. And just now that I have a moment to actually talk. One thing that I think that needs to expand upon is beyond just the 6 or 8 on whatever to like the 30 or 40, massacre things like Imperium did. They did their like 50 on 50. And that was a lot of fun to watch. It's a little bit different dynamics. And I think it's something where you can get more people involved instead of just your elitist 10 people.
That's called tranquility when you don't blow up half the universe and bat phone your ass off.
Well, like if
Yup.
you have 50-man groups, it could be fun.
Is it
So
wrong?
well, no, but I think that's the other thing that Even T or whatever the fuck. But they've been doing another thing. They've been hosting. They have the tournament. They did the Hunger Games, which shameless
No.
plug, we need to do
Anger
again.
Games is Imperium run. Anger Games
No,
is
well, you
Imperium run.
guys- but
Even
you-
T
but
did
you- but-
championship. And then there's like Theomaki. So
Yeah, it's
tons
like-
of
yes,
players
that
have
is
been running
Theomaki.
player run
Get that
events.
umbrella to do that, because I think there's right. You know, we did like some FC things, and you know, just basically games inside of Delve. But to get that institutionalized into at least some format, like if a player Eve to E, you know, like takes over Thunderdome over from Logic, you know, that remnants and runs with it, I think there's a lot of fucking potential there, and you have a great pick.
No player would ever be given control of a CCP server. Not ever going to happen.
Understood. Well, then maybe
What about
a good
that one
commentator
guy who
should
has
maybe
control
go
of
be
the
a
CCP
PR
server?
relationship person and get it for us and
So,
work.
Not
so
even
the way-
Kriba?
So the way it works is that CCP are totally cool for people to run tournaments on Thunderdome. Current problem with Thunderdome is that when Logibro left, there was no one left who could sing to it softly in the way that made it work.
Didn't
because
Fozzie
he was the guy running
try?
the
That system, and it was all
but that's
chat-based, right?
but that will hopefully be coming back soon. And CCP do want to set it up to a point where players can say, "Hey, I want to do this tournament. Here's the information about what I want to do," and CCP will go, "Yep, we're down for you to do that. We'll give you the tools you need to
Dojos.
run the tournament." And that is what has been happening with Thunderdome when it was up previously. And it's just that because there was a setback of when a big part of the community team was let go, including Logibro, we are kind of having to retrace our steps and get that back to that point on the tech side. That's,
Well,
for
also 'cause
example,
you have
for
the code,
why the
right? The
EVE
code,
NT
the code was
tournaments
all based off of your
ended
chat.
last winter, and we didn't have a spring one because, you know, the Thunderdome was down, and we can't run tournaments without Thunderdome unless we run them on Sissy. And I tell you, once you've had Thunderdome, no one wants to go back to fucking Sissy.
Man up!
Oh,
Everybody
yeah.
runs them on TQ,
No, it's agreed.
including
Sissy
Chinese
sucks.
tournament players.
Although the new capital mod or every mod on Sissy is not bad. It helps out.
Well, except faction, but yeah.
Well, hold on.
What
Is
I would
House-
like to
is House
see
in the hospital?
is 2 tiers:
Who? How's
big
it know?
alliances and small alliances in different like
Yeah.
sections.
He has
House,
been in the hospital.
House
like,
just
quite
said,
a
take
bit
a shot for me.
lately.
The nurses won't let me have one.
Wait,
Alright.
House is in the hospital?
We just literally did a shot for what I think may have been no apparent fucking reason.
That
other
was
than
for-
Drayden
that was
We
did
did one
for
for
House?
Coffee
Other,
VAT.
well, hold on. Other than Drayden did one, and then Rain and I looked at each other like, "What the fuck, motherfucker?" Okay. However,
I held
we
it
are
up
going
for
to
half
do
a
a
second.
shot right now because we're going to close out this AT segment, like in its entirety. Because we've talked about like the AT, we've talked about like the back production.
While you're closing it out, Dirk, can we do
Yeah.
can we also give Zarvox a shout out? Apparently he flew and lost a Whiptail, which was an Alliance tournament
Dude,
ship.
hold
He
on,
did.
Props,
hold on.
props
I
to
was
him.
literally
today,
just
so
questioning
if
the
we're
other
gonna
day
just
whether or
give
not
shout-outs,
Zarvox was still
And
alive.
for Wild's Gila.
Yeah, my Gila died, or Gila, and I still, you know, every ship counts.
You know what?
Every ship
Everyone knows
Be
that
matters.
American
Gila
and
Wild
call
is
it
not
Gila,
a fucking
motherfucker.
Whiptail.
Yeah.
But you know, I'm just saying, like, you know, no matter how rich you are in this game or in life, you know, every ship, no matter what it is, those little JPEGs when
It
they
counts.
die, it counts.
It does count.
It's
Sure.
Just
I've
somebody's
been
skill board.
casting and hosting the AT for 5 years. If anybody want to hook me up with an AT ship, then you know I'm down. Slide into
I have
this
You
and
haven't
then-
gotten one yet?
What kind of
So
ship,
long.
Apos? I
Nobody's
can,
just tossed you one for being the one of like
Epiphany,
8
you missed
people who are still
TikTok
pimping the
being-
shit out of the
I
I
AT
missed
like
TikTok
you
being
are.
blackout drunk trying to give away his Chromoas, the one with 400 plus kill marks. So
Dude,
you really
that-
missed out there,
that was
Apos.
just-
You guys have
like,
it
that
good.
was
I
just
had to get
legit
into a
not
fit-
cool, though.
into
I
a
am
pit naked.
very not cool with what happened to TikTok.
Hold
Me
on,
neither.
Dunk,
Don't
Dunk,
worry, I
jump
told
the
all
fuck
the
in
boys
here
back
if you
home
want to
to
like
be
actually pimp your fucking combat medic skins. You know I gave you the fucking
Yeah.
go ahead, so don't just say it out in fucking Twitch chat. If you want to sit there and talk about how combat medic skins are like the mash of 2018, please come.
Dude,
Okay.
I just have to tell you, I had to get into a pit naked, oiled up, in order just to
All right,
get.
shots.
Hold on.
Also,
Don't
can we
just do a
just-
shot.
Whoa,
I'm doing
Ray!
a shot like I
Ray!
did last week.
Don't
Because
spit it out!
already.
No! Now you gotta take. You're gonna like
Please
do a
actually-
free
Actually,
shot.
you do a regurg shot. That's an
Bro,
extra credit shot.
okay,
My mouth is burning.
Oh
Okay,
man!
exactly.
Oh.
Okay, this is a shot once again to the cast and crew. Now that it is totally finally
Can't do a
fucking
shot to
over,
myself.
of EVE-NT, which we know to be a subdivision of Plus 10 Gaming. You know, for all that you did for the for the EVE AT tournament, it was bonkers all the way fucking through. You fucking like made a really good fucking go at it and outclassed what we've had in the past. And really, I'm going to give a lot of credit to that, to the people on the back end who are putting up the graphics, who are putting up all of these things that
Graph
made
porn.
it different from the past, okay? Like, we've had people with funny fucking Orioles hats and, like, shit like that, you know, who've been out there from, like, you know, CCP and whatnot over the years.
The Fat Matani.
Not the fat. Hold on. See, now that I have to think about that for a second, it's like, oh.
You remember that
shit.
guy? He was like 4 years ago.
But like, anyways,
Yeah, that's
okay.
fucking alien. He
Really
was a
fucking
wonderful
great
man.
job. Great job of what Eve players can do if they like, actually like fucking gear up for it and whatnot. And this is what all fucking tournaments in Eve should be like. And we should have more of these. So here's a shot to the fucking Eve NT subdivision of fucking Pluston Gaming.
Man,
And Nash
just shocked.
Cadaver and like all the money he's raking in on his multi-dollar empire.
I also like to propose toast to all my spies that gave me info for on all AT team comps and everything.
Nice. Dunk is now in here, Dirk.
Dunk, give us
Hello,
your
everyone.
7.5 minute why fucking medic skins matter speech.
Do I need to start a timer for this?
No.
Skins number 1.
That was a very
Just let him
specific
fucking roll
7.5 minutes, but
Dunk,
Well,
why is this
Logic-
your like hill to die on?
you're cutting into his time, Dirk.
It's not a hill to die on. As many people know, Logi pilots are a key backbone of any successful engagement, whether it's a small gang or giant blob, blue donut warfare. And they finally came out with some skins, the combat medic skins. They're on Tranquility in the database and everything, but it's not clear how to get them. I think they're giving some away in the GM events, but for those who don't play in EU time zone, it's difficult while I'm at work to engage in tracking down the GMs in HiSec. So
Well, no, you
I'm
could write a
asking the
poem.
audience. I did write a poem. I wrote a beautiful haiku, and I'm asking the audience, who are very bright in Twitch chat, is how do we get the combat skins, combat medic skins?
Well, what I
I
would
don't think
say
the
is
audience knows.
what is
but Brisk
often
does.
Dunk. What happens, at least as far as I can tell, is the skins end up on Tranquility and you can see them, but you can't get them yet. And then in a week or two, they end up on a New Eden store. So I'm willing to bet in a week or two, or maybe by the end of the month, that you'll see those for sale.
But
Well,
for
what I'm
250
hearing
plex, you
is-
can unlock it early.
Well, what I'm hearing is that they're on the market in Gina, so people are getting them somehow.
I think the
don't know
GM
how.
events. I think right now it's the GM events.
The Easter egg
Yes, there
GM
was-
events, like if I find a fucking
If
GM
you're
hiding
playing
in some
instead
system,
of working
Right.
in US time zone, you can get some.
Yes. So I guess the point is there was an event or a situation with some skins that came out that the only way to get the Force auxiliary skins for Logi pilots was to buy, I think, the 5,000 Plex bundle. You couldn't buy it any other way.
yo, if you can't
And-
fucking chime in
and-
for like the real money,
Right. So that was very difficult for even pilots that are not space poor to justify for one skin 5,000 Plex. So I'd hate for another opportunity for Logi pilots to go by in which these combat medic skins disappear, except for the 3 people who wrote poems and people who can play EU time zone with the GMs. So I'm
do you
hoping
think
to
do you
become
think
available.
that somebody who is willing to go through the rigmarole of like becoming a doctor and all the money that goes into that, and like now they're driving a Maserati, can't actually like front up for a medic skin?
Well, I mean,
Well, I don't think that's the
Because
point.
I don't want a
I-
fucking
I don't
doctor
think that's
that
the
can
point. I
like
think
drive a
that it's-
Volkswagen.
It doesn't matter how much money you have. It's if it's a reasonable thing. 5,000 Plex for one skin for Force Auxiliary is too much, no matter how much money you have, and just keeping things in real life perspective. And
Yeah.
so I think that for these combat medic skins, which a wide swath of Eve could do it, I'm looking forward to finding a way for them to be more widely available.
100%
Dunk, do you
agreed.
need one? Do you not have one yet?
No,
feel
I
like
don't. have any
nobody's
of them
given
yet. I
Dunk
heard
one yet.
today when I was at work, they slacked and they were saying they're in the GITA markets. I have been doing my industry work because these ships aren't going to build themselves.
Can we have
And
one
then I
guy?
gotta go to
Can we
Japan.
have one guy
I'll
from
buy
the
it.
Delve,
What do you fucking
from the
want? I'll just
Delve
buy it. What do you
underlying
want?
experience to like give Dunk
I'm
a fucking
I'm not
like skin?
speaking on behalf of just me.
Ah, I got it.
I'm speaking on behalf of all the Logi bros, all the Logi gals, all the Logi otherkin that are out there. They all want skins. So that's
Yes,
that's
we
what
do.
we want.
well, is
We-
it for
we
just?
all
Last
want
I heard it was for
things.
only T1 only, not like T2 Logi also. Is that still
Well,
correct, or they changed it?
Well,
T1 is on
Sissy-
market.
Yeah, on
Okay.
Sissy.
So you, but
there
you
was
guys
all
are, you,
all
see,
8
you see
Logi
they're just
skins.
dangling the keys. What you need to fight for is for your kill mills. When are you gonna give
But
you
the
Listen,
truth is,
Don't be
listen.
fucking,
truth
don't
is,
be
most of us
placated
don't
by
want
little
That- that's
pixelated
coming too,
J-
The
don't
truth
worry.
is, most of us don't want the kill mills.
Okay,
Yeah,
excuse
like
me.
what is this with you people? Like you're pacifist to an extreme. You can't play a video game and not shoot somebody.
I
Like,
will
it's
not
against the
rep the
rules.
first 3 people that broadcast to put my fucking horror drone on that stupid enemy carrier.
I just
Okay.
shoot
Damn
bullets
right.
just for fun. I mean, that's right there. I'll just do it. Just
I'll put
shoot
a
'em.
smart bomb on my ship so I at least whore on my friendly kill mails. Like, I don't care.
Now hold on, real quick.
I checked
Annou-
that range.
announcement,
I actually
I-
shot them a ton.
You guys
in
are all
the
super
AT.
quiet because that's like
Boom.
super wild.
Well, hold on. I got the thumbs up for an announcement. I got it from Apoth.
Is it? You got us a skin?
Apoth, yeah. No, Apoth has given me all the AT skins. They gave him an exclusive thing. He sent
Dude,
it
I
to
can't
me.
get any from my fucking
What?
server.
No,
I don't think
no,
that
no, no,
makes
no.
it-
So I
that-
just mentioned this about having to fight in a pit of an oily goon-infested fucking oil vet, but no.
Is that what the fuck?
No. The announcement.
I had to, you
No,
know
no.
what I had to do to
Run
get
the
a fucking
gauntlet to get to
Tricavian
the
skin?
No.
It's
Apoth.
dirty.
Apoth. Oh, I'm gonna wait for Dirk to put his headset on. Apoth is leaving PL.
What? Coming
What?
to
Yeah.
good? To White Odd? To White Odd?
Actually, I think he's leaving
Eve.
Is it
Eve
White Odd?
Yeah, I was saying like,
Yeah.
and that. Okay, so I said I had
No,
a question
is he
for
gonna
him.
go be CCP because
Yeah.
that was a lot of pro CCP.
Yeah, yeah.
words.
Hey, Poth, are
Well-
you getting hired on CCP?
Well, hold on.
Yeah.
So I had a question for Apoth because
CCP tight shirt.
I saw the tweet that that
CCP.
you
Oh
put
my
out.
god! If there was a CCP tight shirt, you'd know who it'd
CCP
be.
tight shirt.
You know,
CCP, but anyway,
Other
Apoth,
than me with my
Apoth, so I saw
trying
your
to
tweet
get into
saying-
an Excel.
So I saw your tweet saying that as soon as the AT was done, you came back that you were going to take a break from Eve. Now, is this an indefinite break? Is it a permanent break, or is it a temporary break?
so in the words of CCP Antiquarian, I can neither confirm nor deny or
Oh goddamn!
condone
He
or
did.
endorse
Oh, he's
my
evil.
going
God
to
damn
work
it.
for CCP.
Fuck CC. Goddamn! There's so
so-
many PLs.
CCP tight
So-
shirt.
But legit though, I'm not actually going to work for CCP.
God damn it.
Man.
He's
basically-
actually risen above that, people. Just so you know,
Ba-
like his
basically-
education
What
is
is
What
taking
about
him into a
Thunderdome?
place where it's like he's like, I can't even take your
Well,
offer.
who are we gonna put tight shirts on now? Like we could put tight shirts on Dirk. Dirk, you want to
you'll
wear like
still
No, you
men's-
can't. You
No,
can't.
no, Dirk,
me in
we're
my
gonna
tight
put
shirts.
Dirk, when Apoth leaves, we're putting you in
You,
men's
you can
mediums.
put them on Nash Cadaver, but then it just looks like a Nash
No,
Cadaver.
Dirk,
with a
Dirk,
tight
when,
shirt.
when Apoth leaves,
You
we're
put-
putting,
if you
we're
put a
putting
tight
you in
shirt on-
men's
if you put-
mediums.
If you
Nice.
put a tight shirt on Dirk, it'll just look like Dirk's paw.
Exactly. Like my wife shrunk my shit or something. It's like, no, she doesn't. Like, whatever. She's got bounce.
But okay.
But seriously, hold on. Apoth is one of those guys who has taken breaks like this before. It's happened. Okay.
No, it hasn't.
We
No,
d-
he hasn't. He's been.
you
he's been
took a
at
break
school,
at one
and then
point.
he's
Like
here.
when
He
you
doesn't
hit
go from
puberty,
child to
you
man,
took a
child to
break from
retired.
Eve.
You guys are terrible.
No, Dirk, when I hit puberty, that's when you missed your daughter for a few weeks.
Motherfucker.
Holy shit!
And what's scary is when I think he hit puberty, I was actually in the UK that week.
That's when you lost your wife and your daughter.
Yeah, get
Whoa,
it.
son.
whoa now. Hold on, his dad wasn't there.
Oh man.
All that being fucking said, like seriously, Apoth, when I saw your fucking tweet that day, I got a little like kind of, you know, we actually commented on it last. I commented on it last week. You know, about the fact that you sent this tweet out going, you know what, I think this is it for me. Boom, boom, boom. I'm fucking done. Like blah blah. Like you're not actually done, right?
So
You're
so
just
basically-
growing up and finding that your time constraints are a little bit different.
Yeah. Basically, rent is coming up, and I can't really afford to resub 4 accounts.
Go
for the
fund me,
year.
Apoth.
And
Hashtag.
then
I'll pay your
and
place,
then
man.
so basically I'm just going to take a break for a couple weeks, couple months.
He's not
and
the
just
first
not-
Brit
That's
that said
two
that.
very
Is there
different
something wrong
times.
with your country? Is it maybe leaving? You know, is there something going on with you?
I mean, any excuse to pin something on Brexit, I'm there. But yeah, and then when I come back, I'm gonna basically just do my own thing. Like I've been in PL for 4 years, and PL is fucking awesome, and I have
Are you and
zero
Dimchilla gonna join
complaints.
Goons?
Wow,
and
hold
make
on,
it
hold
your
on.
thing?
Apoth, you know Black Legion's recruiting and it's only a change of
Oh,
one
no,
letter.
you
Why
It's only a
would I
change.
move
It's only
to a
it's
lesser league?
instead
No,
of
no,
PL, it's
why not?
BL. It sounds
Okay,
the
now
I'm
same.
we're
already in the best legion. Why would I move
Well,
to a
Oh,
lesser
Apoth,
okay,
you
now
say
you're
that,
up.
but then
Okay,
No,
best
you
Legion
also say
is
that
good.
Rick
Best
Hoover's gone over to Pandemic Horde, too.
What? No, no one does. No, come to White Dot. Come over. Apoth.
I mean, I just no.
Dude, I've got.
Apod, I'll give you a vouch. If Elo doesn't like you, I'll give you a vouch, man. I'll get you a black.
You
I'll
think I
get you
couldn't
one.
get it on my own merit? Is that what you're saying?
Well, I'm just saying, just in case you can't. I mean,
No, I'm gonna take some time off, and what I'm probably gonna do is start my own shit. I'm just gonna
With
do
Doom Chilla?
what the
Is it
fuck I
Holy
want to do.
shit! You're gonna
Are you
do
and
a
Doom
Jin
Chilla
Tan
gonna
and
start
start
a
your
little,
own
like, thing?
shit?
There you go.
oh man,
Yeah,
tight shirt.
Because Jin Tan did that whole "I'm gonna start my own shit" and then
Yeah,
bang.
but I'm not
Next
gonna
thing
do
you
what
know,
Jin
he's
did
a fucking
and
like
play
6th
politics.
Imperium
Just don't start anything with Jim Arcadian.
No, he's gonna be
alright.
Just
TSA.
don't
He's gonna be
start
TSA.
anything with
Tight shirt
goons is
alliance.
the real trick.
No, it's not good. Just think about this. Think about it. Wildly inappropriate. Just
That would've been pretty
roll
fun.
off the tongue.
Well,
No, I
Wildly
my
inappropriate is
brand is
not
all about being
quite the
optimistic and safe for work. So I can't be wildly inappropriate.
Yeah, but just say it. It's good. You'll come around.
Do you want to do a judge? If
Oh.
you can do a judge, there will people being out there who can like make sure you get to be a
Apod,
CSM.
your reputation's
and then,
way
like,
better than anything that you did.
Inconceivable.
I would just also like to say in a little bit of dead zone here. Hey, Dunk, check your contracts.
what'd you give,
Dude, you did not.
Where
get
am I?
him.
What did
Brisk?
you
What
give
the
Dunk?
fuck?
Did you
Yeah, Brisk, I
negotiate
need
that
all
through
of,
a third Ecuadorian party? Because I know,
Russian
Brisk, you didn't
Clyde
come up with that on your
skins.
own. But
What?
So it's like, if you actually got him a fucking Red Cross like skin, like
I got him
that
all the
didn't come
combat
from you.
medic skins.
Where am I, Brisk? What the
Oh.
fuck? I'm
He's
reporting.
not poor.
I
Dunk
am not
Dunk
poor.
has been asking nicely about this for like 2 days. So
No,
This
he
guy-
has.
this guy
Hold on.
poor.
Thank you.
He's been
Thank
asking
you.
because he's like, how is this made more widely available to the other people out there? If
I'm sorry,
you
was that
give the
wildly or
one combat medic
There you
who
go.
has a big name, kind of
Look,
like a skin, like
I
other combat
understand
medics
that.
below him will be like, dick.
I understand that,
Well,
but
great, well,
I
we
can
could,
only help so many people.
We could
Well,
do a
thank
lobby.
you.
Can
I
you,
would
can you
lobby
hit
so
the,
many
can you hit the
groups.
game button? I'll buy us a skin. Come on.
All right. So thank you very much, Brisk. That's very kind of you. I appreciate it very much. I'll wear
Brisk.
them tonight. Brisk.
Brisk.
Oh,
It's
we
like
got
a-
the
it's like a-
things
it's
If,
like a
tonight.
thing
if
that
the
you do to a
CSM
penis.
meeting minutes do not reflect you asking for pink skins, I'm impeaching you.
Well,
Oh my god, we got
There
one
are
of the
there
mini
are
for
skins.
my
pink
work
skins.
wall.
There are pink
Yeah,
skins.
the work.
There's
I need that
only
one.
3 sets of pink skins.
We need more pink
Arrows
skins.
How many
Blossom,
more pink skins do
Hunter-
you
No, I
need?
got my pink
Hunter
tie.
skins for
Look, I'm wearing my
Amarships?
pink tie just for you, Rain.
Good. And then the Rosada Dawn skin.
All that being said, I'm gonna roll it back right now because I want to give Brisk literally like and everybody here to be able to comment on what he's about ready to say because he was the only CSM member I can get to fucking show up tonight. I did invite Sword Dragon, okay, because I think he's somebody who's coming to this CSM like some.
Yeah,
I think
agree.
he's somebody who's coming to this CSM. So look, dude, we can't get fucking Aerith in a nominate. We're not talking in fucking stations.
Thank God.
Okay,
No matter
it's like
what.
we can't get
Dude,
somebody on
half the
there
time
to just
talking
throw
in
their
stations
own
can't even
shit
get
out
like
there
Aerith.
while everybody else
Thank
fucking
God.
like stays silent. This is not that kind of fucking show. Okay, so it's like Brisk is here tonight. I gave it out there to Jin Tan, who was last year's fucking Brisk. Okay, or actually like 3 years ago's Brisk.
I don't know if any of what the words
However-
you're saying are good.
However, Brisk, you have high hopes and dreams for this year's CSM Summit, which you're leaving for next Friday. So therefore, I wanted to get you on before you were gone, and then we'll like get your reaction after the fact, where you're wearing less makeup and your like face is drawn
You
and
have
shit
to wear
like
a
that.
baklava. You have to do that.
Okay.
With,
Tell us
like Eric.
what you're taking to the CSM Summit on behalf of like a bunch of voters out there who are sitting there saying, you know what? This is the guy that's going to take our inner city message to CCP.
What I'm taking is my list, which has chock full of stuff that people have been telling me for the last 3 or 4 months. And we were joking about it in comms today. I'm a politician, so we have set answers for things when people bring them to us. And my 3 set things that I constantly am saying to everybody is 1, I'll put it on my list. 2, I'll see what I can do. And 3, I'll get to work on that right now. Those are my standards that I tell everybody whenever they say anything. But I've got a list. I've got a list of stuff that has been brought to me. I've gotten tons of in-game mails from folks who've been asking for different things and changes they want to see and ideas that they proposed. I've got a whole bunch of wormhole stuff from the wormhole guys because I'm trying to be their their standard bearer since they don't have anybody.
Could you just bring me back some of the fermented shark? That's all I want as a siesta person.
I don't think
that's
I can
the
bring
only
it back in the
thing I can trust
country.
that you can try to
Let me
do.
say on the record, you do not want any fucking fermented shark.
I've had.
I can't
I've
eat it.
had
I don't think you
that.
can get it
Hungry,
through customs, to be honest.
No, you can't. It's a pain in
I
the
don't
dick,
think
that's
I
what
want
I'm
any
saying.
fermented meat. Period.
No, you do. But you like a pickle? You don't like a pickle? You
I don't
you
like a
know-
pickle. No, I don't like.
I like
pickles.
pickles,
It's
but
pickle.
not
It's not
turkey.
fermented. It's
What's
not
that water
kimchi.
fucking Idaho and the fuck do you live? Like you don't like a pickle?
I don't
Right,
like
do you
pickles,
like,
man.
Do you like pepperoni?
Yeah.
That being said,
Right,
I'm
pepperoni is a
rallying it back
fermented
to
meat.
Brisk's hopes
Okay, I like
and
pepperoni
dreams.
and
Oh, sorry.
salami. And...
Well, but he wasn't saying real words. Those were just words that we say.
I don't
to
like
get, like,
pickles though. I
Brisk, what
love
are you
cucumbers
bringing
with
the
vinegar. I
people?
don't like pickles, which is really weird.
Is that, oh, you know what?
Yeah.
we all
Here's
know.
here's what I'm
Do
hoping
you
to
like
get out of this.
kimchi?
No.
We have put we've got I was a lot of us have put together a list of different topics we want to
Don't say a lot of us. I don't want you talking on
Okay.
behalf of other
All right.
motherfuckers who we don't know
on
what
behalf
they're saying.
of me. I have asked for, along with other people, but also myself, a bunch of different things to talk about. I want to talk about Wardex. I want to talk about faction warfare. I want to talk about wormholes. I want to talk about just nullsec sovereignty stuff. I want to talk about abyssal space and how that's playing out.
High level.
And
okay.
number one,
Yeah, could you-
and number one on my list, which has been on my list, since the last big fights, is server stability and things along
Yes.
those, and our
Fucking
technical
high
stuff.
five.
So Brisk,
Thank God.
as a STK alumni to an STK bro, I really need you to fix that thing so I can disband alliances a lot easier.
Yeah.
I saw that when we talked about it. I think that, as I said before, I think that's it's difficult on purpose.
And you
Yeah,
should also make
yeah,
it
it's
so
really
that
annoying, by the way.
corp should be able to you should be able to war deck another corp to show them that you're pissed off at them. Because I cannot tell you how many times I've tried to war deck Gwen's and it just does not work. You cannot
Just
click the fucking
wins?
button.
What about ASCII?
No, I love ASCII. Gwen's got
We would have a lot of Vortex, I think, inside of NIT if that were the case.
Well,
at least
but,
that's
you know,
okay with.
you bitches got to learn a lesson.
But yes, I would really appreciate it if we can go back to the whole right-click disband alliance. It'd make you never had so many instances where I had the possibility of doing it, but no, they had to change it and make it more complicated. Very annoying. It infringes on my type of gameplay style.
I'll see what I can do. How about that?
Oh, the standard
Just waiting
answer.
for that.
I'll just give you $100 if you keep the shark and the Brevin in DC.
I am not getting arrested bringing shark into the country for you. Bob.
Dude,
I'm
just
not.
put it in the briefcase and slap the diplo.
U.S.
tag on it.
politician gets arrested.
Right,
for
there you go. I'll
fermented
stick it in the
shark his
diplomatic pouch.
briefcase.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So I think I'm looking forward to it. Some of the other CSM members, they've done this before. This is my first time. So I'm going in
There's a whole lot
as
of
the naive
incumbents that are
schoolboy.
involved
Oh,
at the
this
table
is,
with you.
this is so
There's a
great.
whole lot of incumbents that are involved at the table with you. And I'm going to throw this out there right now.
No, I'm
I
the sweetest
hope
guy.
in the
Yeah.
fucking summit minutes to see that you are this year's Sword Dragon. You're the guy that's bringing up shit that's gotten left behind, but are still willing to ask the question. Whereas everybody else is
That's
sitting there
a
going,
lot
well,
of,
this
like,
is not what
praise for
CCP
Sword
wants to
Dragon.
talk about, therefore I'm not going to fucking say it.
Well,
Ask
look,
the
and that's
fucking
one of the things.
questions.
And I've actually gotten in trouble with that, and I can't talk about it, but I tend to be the guy that asks random questions because I don't know the answer. And if I don't know the answer, then maybe somebody else doesn't know the answer. And just because I'm not an incumbent doesn't mean I'm
Pretend you
not going
don't
to
know
ask
the
questions.
question.
Well,
Pretend you
look,
don't know the answers.
The
Yeah,
fact
agreed.
is,
Be the
some of
guy
these
that
guys have
people
asked,
hired
have
you
asked
to
this
go
stuff.
there and be like, look, if this is still literally a question, it needs to be fucking answered.
Well, and I agree with that. But I mean, part of the problem is that I don't have the multiple years of experience that somebody like Aerith has, somebody like Steve Renukin has, that have been on this a bunch of times, who have figured out how they got to maneuver around. I'm still figuring this stuff out. So I'm still falling into little traps, sometimes I make jokes and I get in trouble for it and stuff like that. So I'm still trying to feel out everybody. And I think once I'm physically there and I get to talk to everybody in person, a lot of this will go away. But I will say that I've been working with Jen.
Once they feed you
I've been working with
sheep face, you're
Suetonia.
fucked.
What?
Once they feed you sheep face, you're fucking fucked.
They don't
Well,
eat cheat face.
It
Look
don't-
at the hot dog.
I will
Because
be
that
honest.
like
face.
totally
Get the
is
hot
like
dog
that's
and go
their
to the fucking-
Kool-Aid.
And sit in their small little conference room for like 12 hours. But I think you're on the right path, man. Go
I mean,
be
look,
you.
bottom line for me is this is nothing different than my day job. And so far as I can tell, it's still nothing different from my day job.
Do you want to
Stuff
drain
like
the
that.
swamp? Do you want to drain the swamp?
I can't
Do it.
I can't stress enough how that is the realistic thing about how businesses work and how CCP has to operate. They have to listen to people, consider, and they need people over there who can pose a question, be patient, and not be screaming in their face, ranting with a cigarette pointed at their nose.
Correct.
Also, a
Yeah.
nominate is the best guy in the whole fucking world. Just hang out with him, make him show you where the hot dog stand is.
He
Nam,
may flip you
we've
to
already
us.
we've already
Hot dog
tried to
stands,
figure out where
man.
we're going to go to eat and everything, and Nam and Aerith and the guys they have all the good high end places, and then I'm going to do my best to try to peel off and eat with everybody and talk to
Like the
everybody.
American bar?
Have you
So-
been to FanFest before?
I have not. This will be my first time, and
Oh.
so I'm still I'm getting all
Since
my
that
tips.
time
Brain's
when
been
you were
giving me
there in
tips.
Reykjavik and did an entire nuclear deal.
There you go. So I will say, I mean, I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be fun. I'll be interested to see what comes out of it. But some of the stuff that I've been pushing, I'm going to keep pushing. I'm going to push the fax changes. I want to find out from CCP Rise what we're going to get done in the fax changes regard. I'm
How
going to
about
push all the other stuff.
transparency and
Okay.
get rid of the NDA? How about that one? That would, as a person
Well,
of the people.
one of the things that I have told Guard and Falcon and the rest of these guys is a little bit of extra transparency goes a long way to making people happy. And I think I don't want to take credit for it because I can't, but I want to say some of the stuff that has happened in terms of blogs that have gone out and stuff people have said and a level of detail, I'm hoping is them listening to me saying, hey, let's be a little more transparent. Because I think the more information we give the players want that. And they feel more comfortable when they feel like they know a little bit more. And I'm also happy to see like the GM thing we'll talk about in a little while, where they brought the bots into EULA and we got to kill the bots. That's the first time you've ever seen CCP like releasing the name of botters. That's great.
Stop it,
like
stop
that.
it. We're
We
not
should
going
do
there
that
yet,
more.
but we are literally going there in exactly 3 minutes. Okay.
All right.
However, I do want to throw this out there from
But
the whole
that's part of my point.
transparency standpoint. Okay. When they sit there and NDA a section of the fucking minutes, okay, there has got to be a method whereby when the shit that was no longer NDA'd under that gets fucking released. We want to know
That's like a
what you
crazy amount of
motherfuckers
work.
said
No, that's
during
not
that
crazy
time.
amount of work to
Here's
go
the
back
thing.
every this paragraph.
No,
3
they
months
should
later,
do
go
minutes
back,
and then
in 6
NDA
months
minutes,
we go beta
not
and do
NDA an
this, and
entire
then
section
and this
like
section
nobody
we
said
didn't do
anything.
it all. We just fucking dumped it in the
Whoa,
trash
but I
can,
mean,
and
isn't
it's
that
forever.
the whole point of the CSM? There's so much that they've just now NDA'd their entire conversation because it's game mechanic that it gets down to the same point is we don't know anything that it says, and they're making bad decisions after bad decisions based upon this clearly 12-person team giving secret words. So if you're going to have a democracy or you're going to have a representation,
It's
of
not
it-
a democracy.
It's not a
No,
democracy.
no, I
It's
understand.
not a
What?
democracy.
Well, here's the
Everyone,
thing.
people in Eve are so you guys are so entitled to being able to crack open every part of the design process. There is no other game. There is no other game where you get to see the minutes of a design meeting.
Right,
None.
Dunk is right.
Totally
And now-
agree.
And,
I mean-
and
totally
now
agree.
you guys are like, we need to know every fact after the detail.
but-
Just
No,
because
no,
how
hold
the
on,
first
hold
one
on.
planned,
The reason
now
why
you
we
throw-
don't go back, the
If you
reason why you
want
don't
to
get the
redact
minutes
something, if you want-
unredacted after. Look, Dirk, the reason why you don't get the minutes unredacted after the fact, and I've seen some of them, not all of them because they don't have them everywhere, but I've seen some of them. And the reality is a lot of it is discussions of stuff and timelines that never ended up happening. So it's not like it's
Completely
secret.
fine.
It's because the
Completely
stuff
fine.
never got
But
I
it-
don't
but
want
if
to
you
wait till
redact
George
the
Herbert Walker
section-
Bush dies in order to find out something that you numbnuts couldn't fucking decide.
I want my
if,
Eve.
if you
flavor of
redact
that.
a
Get
section
it, I
simply
just want you to get
because
that
6 months later it was going to come out, okay? Here's the deal, okay? You unredact it after it has actually become fucking public knowledge. We want to be able to see what you people said at the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
You redact it?
the
We're not
redact-
saying unredact shit that never happened.
The redacted sections that I have seen have not been stuff that has been the CSM talking about stuff they want to fix and bad stuff.
Then you
Honestly,
haven't
all it has
seen
been
those
is
redacted
has
sections.
been stuff that has either
Yeah.
is still being worked on and is still actively being produced, or stuff that hasn't
That's fine,
just
but
was-
now we
fell
want
off the
your
roadmap
Slack
and
logs.
and
We
was
now
decided
want
not to
see
get done.
those logs. We need to see them to make sure that your conversations weren't terrible, so that in our next election we can vote for the best person.
Well, that's, I mean,
6
that's-
months. 6
that's
months.
what
in,
the rest of the
6
stuff is.
months in front of the
Did
Citadel
you do the shot,
release.
Drayden?
There was a bunch of redacted
Yeah.
stuff, right? And then the Citadel release happened, and then like none of the stuff that was actually talked about in the 6 months prior to that was ever like anything that has ever been redacted ever has
I feel
never
like
been
we're just living
released
like a
after the
political
fact.
real conversation
It was almost
in
like they
Eve.
sat there and said, the purpose of this meeting was to talk about things that are coming out soon. Therefore, we're just going to like not take minutes during it. That's the difference.
Well, CCP
I will
definitely
say
takes minutes, they
redacted,
don't share 'em.
literally not taking minutes
I will
is where
ask-
they've come through. Like
I
not
will
come
ask
through in
them
that regard.
to be a little more descriptive in terms of if there are stuff that's redacted out of the minutes, what we were talking about. Like we have requested.
It's
a bunch of
okay to
meetings.
redact.
Well, they're not going to put
It's
everything
okay
in
to
there.
redact in terms of timeliness, but after the like, literally, if some motherfucker
Why?
sits there and like
Why?
they're talking
Why?
about
It's
Dirk.
very simple
Why?
because
How
Dirk,
do you
the
know
NDA
the
you
line
do
is when
remember
you're
we
gonna do
always
all
have to
this
go
shit,
back to the
man?
fucking where they made shitty decisions. Was there 12 people in their room when they made fucking Fozzie stuff? Were there 12 people in the room when they changed the other mechanics?
What's gonna happen? What's gonna happen?
No,
if
because
you-
What
that
does
guy-
it
so you
change?
look at
What's
Rick
gonna
Dating
happen?
Dating
Dunk,
stands
dunk,
for
dunk,
the
dunk,
thing,
dunk,
motherfucker. That's the
everybody.
key.
Everybody whose not name is fucking Dinkle. Dinkle, go.
All right, if you want this thing to happen, you have to explain why it is helpful and not just you're going to dance around somebody's corpse and beat it like a dead horse.
Correct.
Other than that, other than being able to go back and say, see how fucking wrong you were, why is it helpful to anyone to go back 9 months ago and say, this CSM member was wrong about
But
this
here's
particular
No, I
It's not
think
about
you
being
can
wrong.
have
It's
Look, guys,
about what they
then why
said.
do
from
you
the
want
very
to
beginning.
why
I
do
don't
you want to
agree
know?
with redacting. I
Why
say
do
give
you
it right
want to
away.
know the redacted stuff?
Oh, I don't. I wouldn't have transparency right away. I think I'm just allowing the like the redacted part. But it should be when we're talking. It should be if you're going to have these 12 people in a room, they should explain from all of, or at least somewhat of a representative, viewpoint of what we're trying to talk about. But we don't know if they did. We don't know if they came in and be like, here's what we're going to do. We're going to make notes, and it's going to be cool. All right, fuck yeah. And then they
Well,
get
who's
out.
gonna
Like,
do
we
it?
don't know if
I
that
mean,
happened.
Here's
we
what
have
I will
CCP
say.
plant or
I want to
How
make
many
it clear.
times has Brisk nominate or Aerith said, I can't talk about it NDA? Every single conversation is can't talk about it NDA.
But that's
They
the
talk
thing.
about
Look,
it, they're just not
I
to
will
you.
push the boundaries as much as I can to provide information.
Dollars?
If I don't think it's NDA or I've seen it talked about somewhere, like literally this happened the day after we had our roadmap meeting with with the CCP to talk about the roadmap for the next 6 months. Eve Down Under happened, and Fozzie went and gave a whole discussion, a bunch of stuff that was on the roadmap that we talked about the day before. So as far as I'm concerned, all right, once it's
Isn't
public,
that good?
I thought it was good. It was structure stuff and a bunch of other things and skins and stuff that I was happy about. I mean, not a lot of stuff that everybody's going to go, yeah, we're finally fixing
Well, would
stuff.
you
But
have
it's,
gotten that 5 years ago, 6 years ago, when you were not chasing them down for this information? Like,
I don't know. I can't
see, we're
say
fighting
for
a
sure
constant
one way or
fight
the
of
other.
please tell your player base what you're thinking about, so you don't waste your fucking dev hours doing something stupid like, I don't know, shoes.
Well, I mean, part of
Shoes.
what I think that they're trying to do
Shoes.
is trying to be more
If we
transparent.
could have gotten fucking high heels, that would have been badass.
swear
High heels would
God.
have been good.
These
At the
shoes are
same
$300
time,
fucking dollars. Let's.
you also
get
got to
'em.
understand. Well, we're not making the decisions.
Somebody said
Okay.
$300. What?
I'm not making
old
a
meme,
decision.
old
All
meme.
I'm doing is
$20.
providing
Oh, my bad,
information.
my bad.
I'm not making decisions and push. Even if I am persuasive, that doesn't mean they're going to do it. You know, I could be the most persuasive guy on the face of the earth, and I'm pretty good at it. It's what I get paid to do. That doesn't mean that I'm going to be able to push through stuff that I think the rest of the player base is going to think sucks.
However,
agree. I agree.
we
What
have
you should do is
15
you
minutes
should
left
tell-
of this show. I don't
Hard.
want to be the sober guy. Don't make me
Don't worry.
be the sober guy. We have
Okay, so
15
what we
minutes
do
left
is
of
we
the
get
show.
guard
Brisk,
and we
I
tell
just
them
I
that's
just want to bring up
another
one important topic.
T2 Salvagers.
If you fucking stole my thunder. I had a whole pitch about the price of salvage, the amount of rigs and structures, and then you just
You've already
separated
sold
it.
me. I'm going to bring it up. It's on my
I
list.
know,
You
but
guys
I'm
could buy
pitching to the
those nano
people.
transmitters or
He's
whatever.
pitching
I
to the
bought a lot
peoples,
of them, and
man.
we need to get rid of those.
go ahead, Dunk. Go ahead, lay your fucking T2 salvage shit out there.
Well, no, it doesn't work that way. You can't like have somebody say the punchline and
busted
then
it.
the wind up doesn't work when the punchline's already given. So let's just move on.
Did you give?
All right.
Do you get a free skin? Dirk, buy your viewers a skin. I'll buy a skin.
You want me to buy them? a
I
skin?
bought the
I can't
combat
buy
bag
them
skins
all a
because
skin.
someone wouldn't buy it me for
No,
it.
roll
Like,
along.
why
I
not?
know,
Roll
that's
along.
the other
What's the
thing.
point
I'm
of being a
sorry,
I'm
woman if
going
I
to
don't
push-
get
not
free
defend.
things?
The other
No,
thing I'm
no.
going to push hardcore because I know it is they're sitting on $1 million is Alliance skins We need alliance
Amen.
skins in the game.
Yes.
Make so much money doing that.
Yes.
It
Yes.
would be,
Yes.
you could fund all the development for the
Carter, I
next
see you,
year.
girl.
Alliance skins.
Alliance skins.
Yeah. The
And not alliance
No, I don't
skins
want
that
that
you can
because
carry
I've-
to your next alliance, but like literally you lose them like when it happens. You have to buy them while you're there, and you
Or-
lose them when you leave.
or how about this? You buy them and you
No.
get that specific alliance skin. So it's like, say I
no,
buy.
because like
Yeah,
not
you gotta
everybody
keep
can wear
buying
an
them. You
alliance
collect
skin
them all.
unless
No, but
you're
No,
in
no,
the
no,
alliance.
no,
had
hold on.
where you
Right,
actually
right.
had
So
like a
say-
cool, like 3B like background, and then they took that away from you and gave you this really
Exactly,
Well,
you
no,
get
no.
stripped. You
reverse
get
skin.
it fucking ripped off your fucking
No, no, no.
shoulder.
So once you buy the alliance skin, it should never be taken away. But here's the thing: I buy a Black Legion alliance skin. I get the Black Legion alliance skin.
yeah,
If I
for
go
the
over,
moment
say,
you're in
say
a,
I
like,
say I
Black
move over
Legion.
to Brave Newbies,
Mm.
I could still
see
put
that,
a
for
Black
sure.
Legion skin on. But if I
But
want to,
no,
if
that's
I
the
want
thing.
you can't be a counterfeit. Like
no,
they-
no, no.
they
But
give
if
you
I
that
if,
shit.
if I want, hold on, if I want a
Skin
Brave skin,
skin
if
If
I
you
want
want
a
to have,
Brave,
if you want to have, if somebody
I have
wants
to
to
buy a
collect
new
all the
skin.
alliance skins in the game, let
Why
them try
can't I
to
take a
collect
picture
them.
of my
It's more
face
money.
and put it on my ship? That's all I'm asking.
Why can't I just get into the last
agree.
14 minutes of
because
this
the,
fucking show?
they'd have
Why
to
that?
screen all the pictures because otherwise there'd be literal dick pics on the ships.
It'd be too
Times.
small,
wrong
though.
with
Well,
that?
look,
And now we're at
that's
12
what I
minutes.
said.
That's why I
The
can't
bottom
do it.
line
it
is-
doesn't fit the full ship.
We already talked about time of penis
Or
and things
you
like
need
that.
Because
Avatar.
everyone would find thoraxes
All
with dick
right,
pics on them.
so anyways, now that I'm getting all fucking vocal and shit, look, there was a thing that happened this week. It was like it was the August release, right? Nobody had fucking high hopes for that. It wasn't like Citadel's changed shape and whatnot. Okay, but there was some stuff that actually fucking happened this week, and it started off with the whole fucking. This was apparently GM week, and that started off with holy shit. They threw some botters to the Lions.
Unverified, and you know, I feel like
No,
you
this is
say
verified.
unverified?
This was verified, and they have been banned. The bottom line, this was the
They were
best
banned,
thing
they
that they
lost
have
the
done
next
in
day.
forever. I mean, I'll tell you flat out, and I give CCP credit for giving the GMs latitude to do this, because this is what we've been asking for forever.
Number one, nobody
Tell
gave
us who they are so we
anything
can blow them up.
latitude to do anything. Team
And two of
security
them were our
either
renters,
fucking
and I'm glad
banned
they
these
got
people and
banned.
said, I'll roll them out there to like throw them to the lions so that all of the fucking masses of Eve can feed on it, or like they didn't. Like this wasn't
Because
thrown
those
out
botters-
to
There was a
anybody.
few of them that were actually in local going, hi, and then
They
you know,
spoke?
yeah, there was a bunch of them that spoke.
They,
Holy
these
shit.
were all dead to right botters, and they all got banned.
Could
the next
any
day.
of them
Could
have
you?
been
Is that
actual
how we
fucking
are
just
nowadays?
players
Any
like
man of Botter Bros? Could you just throw the label and then just accuse? I mean,
I'm not accusing these guys.
everybody
Look,
deserves a little bit. I'm not trying to go back against wall for the bot, but
Are you trying
Hey,
to
look,
mag?
they
Are you
had their
trying
due
to mag this
process,
whole thing
there
where
was an
the Attorney General
investigation,
did not
and
fucking
CCP
like do
figured
his
it out.
job?
I'm just saying that reasonable doubt.
There's no reasonable doubt in my mind. These guys were all dead to rights. They were going to get banned
it's
anyway,
cool
so
that
we
you
got
get
to blow them
shoot
up.
some fucking Titan that can't activate a aggression mod against you. That's not like, I don't know, shooting fish in a barrel. But again, I like the concept, but I just feel like you're a
Do
power
we?
process.
Do we actually like the concept?
I think it's
of-
great.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Before you guys
Shooting
all
fish in
answer,
a barrel.
They're
Yeah.
Before you
throwing
all
this kind of
answer,
play
let me
bullshit
throw
devil's
this shit
advocate
out
bullshit
there.
here.
And
It was awesome.
Because remember, this could possibly extend to you under a different regime.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Did you move your
Do
fucking
you
mouse 2
actually
hours?
like the concept, or is it just like with the handful that they tossed out there, you're okay with that?
Yeah.
Would you like to see this expanded?
Dirk,
When they come
look,
for
there were
you-
two of my renters that were blown up. I want to see more of it. I want to see if
Maybe, but-
anybody's doing it. Let's get a chance to blow
Dude,
them up. Highlight
but
these
don't you
folks.
question Briggs? Like, if you pay, let's imagine you actually pay with a credit card for 100 Botter accounts, and you did the like broadcast of commands. Let me ask you this: you're paying for a full-time game with your credit card for a full 12 months. At some point, like, are you really the shitty Chinese like fucking script boy? Like, there's some
Yes.
point of difference. I get it, but
Yeah.
potentially
You paying
like-
the money is you signing up to say, I will play the game by your rules. If you
Correct.
break your
Oh,
rules,
of
I
course,
have
of
no
course.
Yes,
say.
But of course,
absolutely.
the rules always change in order to prevent sort of monetary things from from the game, right?
Well,
Like,
you're basically saying, I bought this gun. Why can't I kill people with it?
I mean,
Well, hold on.
Hey,
Are we
let's
talking
hold
about
on,
like
we'll
a
get there.
3D
People kill
generated gun or
kill
like?
people.
Like, I bought this knife.
bit of
Why can't I
extreme-
chop off the judge's hands with it? I mean, that's what you're
no,
saying.
that's not.
Well,
No,
yeah,
no,
I mean, okay,
but
fine.
there's a difference
Too much
between
to
chopping off
soften.
someone's hands or physical violence or death with a
But
broadcast
look, the
command.
bottom
If
line
you-
is, even if they bought this stuff and they want to bot it, They've signed an
Well,
EULA.
there's a
that
difference,
says
but
you
though
can't
there's a
do
difference
this
though from
thing.
botting, which is
Don't
a
do
full
it.
script kiddie like repeat, Python injection. That shit, I'm with you. That's a compromising of the DLL and the game.
It's
but
still botting.
Well,
You're trying to dance.
I
On
don't
this
want to.
fine
I don't
line
want to
about
differentiate
botting.
I'm not,
around
bro.
They got
fucking
caught
Python
botting.
injecting
They
or
got
like
caught
any of that
botting.
stuff.
Whoa.
I was more
Security
talking about.
determined-
I was
Did
more
nobody
talking about the
Security
fucking.
determined they were
macro?
bots, and they got killed and banned.
Maybe, but
I was
there's
more-
There's
but
no,
the,
there's no gray area here.
Dark.
there
These
is,
guys are
because
gonna
those
get
guys
banned
were in
anyway.
local saying, "Hey, I'm not a bot."
It doesn't
Yeah,
matter.
If I was
They can
botting and I
appeal.
found
They can
out I heard the
appeal.
sounds, I'd be like, "What the fuck's going on?" I'm
Okay,
not
so
a bot,
here-
and I
They
gotta
can
get off my
appeal what
botting
they
software
want, but
now.
the bottom line is they were going to
Here's the
get
question.
banned anyway.
Here's the serious fucking question, though. Okay, like,
Okay.
do we want to see a fucking statistic about how like thousands of botters got banned, or do we want to see a handful of people get thrown to the fucking lions?
I
Well,
want
here's
both.
what I'm gonna say.
You wanna see
I'm
the
gonna say about
lines.
this with
That's-
Wild.
Yeah.
I
the
want
chatting,
both.
saying, "Hey, I'm not botting." I've known people that have done botting, and they have literally IRC chat channels set up so they can chat from their phones in case somebody asks them something in local or direct PM message.
Okay.
So the chatting in local, not something that I really think of. The whole thing about goons don't tell people to don't report bots. We don't know. That's I think it's really kind of been taken to a whole new level, saying, "Oh, goons allow bots." We don't allow bots. We're just not gonna spend our time doing CCP's
It's not
job.
our job. It's
Yeah, if
it's not our
CCP's
job.
gonna do it, fine. They got killed. They got commissar, whatever. That's not our job. We're here to have fun. We're not here to fucking police the game. Oh, sorry.
Well, no, you're right. Like,
Well-
and I completely agree. Listen, if you're script kidding it and it's different, I just, I felt like a couple people without fucking thing. If any of us got banned or had their accounts fucked, wouldn't you feel like terrible to have to sit here
Dots.
and, yeah,
Hold on. I'm gonna tell you right now. If
Yeah.
you were literally a motherfucker that got thrown out there to the fucking lions, you were on the high end of their list.
Yeah.
Unless that was different. Unless that is
Listen-
something that anybody
Yeah,
can
this
out
isn't-
there prove and go, this
listen,
is
and
just
I
a
had to deal with
suspect.
Delve with
All
what's
these
his name,
people
the
were
Russian, who
double.
would
All
always
these
kill
people
every
were
fucking
double
line you
time
said.
convicts.
Yeah, these aren't first time offenders. These are guys who have been warned
This is
to
not
not
somebody
fucking
who
do
would
what
be
they were
giving
doing.
a first time because remember
Okay.
for botting there is still a 2-strike rule. Therefore, everybody that should have been involved with being thrown
but if
to
you
the fucking lions
problem. If you
should have
said it,
been
though,
second
it
strikers,
has to
right?
follow those rules. There has to be a clear and
That
path
being
to
said,
it. But
all
I
that
don't
being
think
said,
that it
can we
happened
just
for everybody.
assume for one moment? Can we assume for one moment that everybody who got thrown to the lions the other day, the small handful of people that got thrown to the lions, were like multiple offenders, right? Like they literally
have
even
no-
got
you- 'cause you have no
California's 3
transparency.
strikes.
Dirk,
And you have
Dirk,
an
it doesn't
NDA
matter
with
whether they were
security.
multiple offenders or not. The bottom line
The
was
question
they were
is
going
this:
to
But
do
they
we
were gonna
want-
get banned
do
anyway.
We just want to see.
They were going to get banned. So what's the difference?
Do we just want to see people get thrown to the lions, or do we want to see Team Security's legitimate stats of the number of people, and throw it out there? Throw the fucking player name out there. Throw the alliance name out there. The full fucking accounting of everybody who got banned that day, but these people actually got thrown to the lions.
Yeah,
Can we
see,
get that
here,
from
the thing, the
non-bothers
issue
But
too?
is we're way too tinfoiled for that. The thing, it's going down to basic human instincts. Think of the 18th century, 17th century. We loved a good beheading back then. This is basically a good beheading
Yeah.
that the
Fucking
locals get to go look at
goddamn.
and see, haha, you got your head chopped off.
But it's not a good rule of law because everyone will then lose their head. Like that's
Well,
the point.
but it's
no,
not
but the
law.
point is, though, is
It's
that
not
you can't-
law.
as
It's a
long as-
goddamn
as long
fucking
as the-
video
As
game,
long as the rule
And these
of
guys
law
are
was
fucking
followed.
cheating. So
Yeah, but
fuck
you don't
'em.
know that. Somebody told
I do
you
know
they
that.
were.
I do know
but
that.
hold
No,
on,
no, no,
But
no.
they said that they
CCP
were.
determined
CCP
they were.
says
It
that they
wasn't
were.
someone.
They- these
Oh,
are
oh,
just
oh,
like
oh,
the government
determined
saying
they
this
were.
guy
Let's
was
all not
Right,
talk
the
over
government
each
tells
other.
you that guy's a
That's
fucking
it.
criminal. You say he's a criminal, and everything else after that
The
is a
guy
criminal.
goes through
but
a
did he
court of
go
law
through the
by
process?
judge, jury, and trial, and is
he?
determined to be a yeah. That's how
Wait.
CCP does it.
Yes.
So
No,
he's
because
determined to
it's
be
not.
a
Like I
botter
said,
That- well,
by,
hold on, that's
by
not-
Every
like
that's
single
literally,
one of
it's
these
not
guys
accused,
was
it's
gonna get
convicted.
banned
Fucking
He
anyway.
is
and
a
like 2 goons.
convicted murderer, not an accused murderer. Convicted
No,
murderer.
wait,
Stop
stop
using
And
that.
therefore,
You wanna do
he's
that? You wanna
publicly
fucking roll that
beheaded.
clip
What's
right
wrong
now?
with that?
Whoa! Stop using trying to like go for the murder case and use real life. There are like 10 or like 12 people who got killed who are like, I'm not a fucking. Do they not get the appeal? Did they go through the process? That's
Wow,
They
what
go
here's
through
the
the
thing.
trial.
Yes,
Yeah, you don't
all
get
of these
convicted.
guys-
I can tell
That
you
is
right
wrong.
now,
all of
everybody
these
who
guys
got thrown
are
out there
going to
for
get
this went
banned,
through the
and they
process.
got all of these guys were going to get banned, and they got banned the next day. That's it. They were going to get banned anyway.
However, if
So it
all
doesn't
you're
matter.
going to do is a handful, though, Brisk. If all
Well,
you're
they
going to
threw
do
us
is
a
a
handful
handful,
because those
you
are the
better
guys
have
that
a
were
fucking
online
random
during
number
the event.
generator from fucking hell that actually puts it out there from like the grand scope of the thousands that you were going to do.
Look,
Which
if
I'm
you
not
look at-
sure was quite the example here.
Well, CCP Pellegro did a blog the other day, and he talked about all the different stuff. And I asked him specifically to do this. That they put a blog out that had a list of we've banned 1,100 some accounts in the last 6 months for doing this and that and the other thing. And I think that should be a standard thing. And what I said to the guys when we talked about it was, when I was at the Labor Department, we would have Tuesday morning meetings, and all the different agencies would come in and talk about how much money that they find bad actors and how much money they were bringing in. Or OSHA, we did $10 million worth of fines in the last month or something. And that let us know that these guys were doing their job. And that's what I think CCP needs to do on a more regular basis, is say, here's how many people we botted, here's how much S we removed from the game that was gained from botting, and here's the number of accounts that we banned. That tells people that they're doing something, which is not what everybody thinks that they're doing right now.
This thing they did the other day was not what would tell people that they were fucking doing something. I'm gonna tell you right now, when they come out there and say we've had 7,000 bans of this and whatnot, like that's the shit that tells people. You're never gonna prove to anybody unless it is literally them at the moment they get cast out there into that fucking solar system that I can't even fucking remember right now. Okay, and a bunch of people attack them. Like, that's not how it fucking happens. What happens is they fucking throw a bunch of shit out there. They throw some player names out there that large alliances can correspond to, like, all of their fucking internal, type of, understanding who's coming from what, and maybe even what IP address, okay? Because they have that capability. Like, you don't just throw a handful out there and say, this is how it went down. No, those people are not representative of all the botters in fucking EVE.
It's very true.
I think they are exactly representative of all the botters in EVE, and they
may actually be. They may actually be, and that would be something that the NSA has to prove.
But you don't.
They don't
You're
have to
all
prove
behind
anything
the
to
fucking
us.
Slaughter
Like, you
in
guys
the public
think
execution.
this is like a government. This is not a government. It's a video game, and these guys.
No,
are
worse.
it's a
Because
government.
they're not bound by
not
the
logical.
law.
We have a CSM, and Brisk is on it.
He's legitimizing
That
this.
doesn't look. That doesn't mean we're the
Brisk
government.
is
I mean,
killing all of the bad people.
Look, the bottom line is they have said, CCP has flat out said botting is illegal. They don't want botting. They're going to remove botters. Now, I think that there are some issues in terms of releasing personal information about names and stuff like that. But at least in this regard, we obviously know who they are because we blew them up.
Brisk, can I ask you a question real quick though?
Sure.
Have you ever said anything bad about ISD on a public channel? Have you ever had an altercation where you've gotten, in a wartime, you've got an alert from a GM telling you that you're about to be
I'm
banned?
gonna say, Dark Wild, I am calling you off right now because you're being unfair.
I have not, because I'm a good boy.
Can we do a shot and then send this off? Because it's 10 o'clock.
No. You know
Can
what?
we talk about
10
that?
o'clock,
Understand
it's
it's
8,
10
Rain.
o'clock Iowa time.
It's 8 your
and,
time. It's 11
shit.
Dirk's time. We
Yeah,
gotta send
but
it
why
off.
don't you, why doesn't
We
everyone
should
just
do
follow?
it. We should send it off.
Let me
'cause
hear it.
I'm gonna
Everyone
go
should
fly
just be
Fleet with
Pacific
someone.
time. Like,
I'll
Pacific
do a
time is
shot because
obviously
you're willing to
superior
give
time
the fuck
zone.
up.
I agree, Drayden. What Pacific is superior.
Yeah, I mean, right? Like, that's the only argument, right?
Shot.
Pretty much.
Actually, Drayden, we didn't even know what you said right there.
Well,
But
hold
what?
on. Pacific time is Vegas time, so it's superior.
Yep.
No. Whoa.
Yes,
No.
it's
Stereo
No.
Central.
Yes, it
No,
is.
we're
No,
not doing
I
an
just
East
looked
Coast
at it.
Vegas
What,
time.
Rain,
Alright, I'm
what,
gonna go-
what time zone
Vegas
is
talk to
it?
you guys
is
later, alright?
Pacific time.
All that.
Bye,
Rain.
Rain.
Bye, nerds.
Rain, did you
Bye,
guys put
Rain.
a dress on
Wait,
and
did
do
you do
like
a
an
shot,
AC
Rain?
tournament in your back room?
I love my dresses. Don't hate on my dresses.
Rain,
All
did
that
you do a
being
shot
said.
with us?
I just did the shot.
She did the shot.
What? You didn't wait?
Were you not watching? Jesus fucking.
I just
I'm
throw 'em
so
back.
tired of
I'm
monitoring
at-
you people.
I'm at like 5. I'm looking at this tweet by. Hold on, I'm supposed to read this tweet from Apoth. Hold on.
Okay. All that being fucking said,
Not a tweet. It's a
what
it's a
we
Reddit thing.
understand
Bye,
here,
nerds.
right, is
Bye,
that
Rain.
there were a handful of fucking bodies thrown out at the Lions. That is all cool. We all love that. We think it should be the fucking normal day-to-day Eve in a way, right? If you find somebody fucking with the game mechanic of Eve, you literally teleport them to this place where shit gets fucked up and that's all the fucking end of it, and then you delete their account. Literally delete their account.
Well, Dirk, I don't
But
disagree
what
with that, but I think
actually
the point
happened
is
here?
that
Was this a
these
one-day
are longer
fucking,
term
like,
investigations,
bang-bang?
and these guys happen to be the ones that were online actively doing stuff when the GM event happened.
No, but that's fucking cold. That's fucking cold to the people who were actually online. If there were more Imperium at the time that happened to be online, it's like, oh, what?
Well, here's the deal. This is their
That's
game.
why I said it wasn't
They wanna ban
representative.
these-
I agree.
They have
The representative
they have a
fucking
very
statistical status
strong
of this is unverified.
incentive to not ban people unnecessarily. They're not going out banning people willy-nilly. That
Yeah,
costs
face
them
scams.
money. So if they're banning people, they're doing it because they have solid information that
I
this
feel
guy
as
was doing
though
bad stuff.
Elise Randolph was somebody who was not involved with this.
What? Yes.
I feel
right.
that there's a lot of people who are not involved in this.
Did you
I
move us
believe
off the
that.
cha- no, you
I
stayed
believe
on this
that
channel.
Dark Wild was not involved with this.
I was not.
Although I feel as though Dark Wild is willing to represent others who were possibly
Wronged
not
over
involved
their
with
tenure.
this.
Yes, I think that people deserve a fighting chance, and I agree that bonding is the worst.
So should we put them in there with like a shield and a sword? Like, is that what you mean
No,
by
you should
fighting
have a, but
chance?
shouldn't you have an appellate? Like, I swear to God, and this is where you go back. If you've ever dealt with any of CCP's customer service on that level, it's fucking terrible. If they
No,
feel that you've
forget
got
Now look,
sometimes
now that
customer
now,
service.
look, now,
Because
now,
let's be
now,
honest
Wild's
here.
point
Let's be
here-
honest. If what we know is everybody who was involved in this was totally second strike, like honestly,
Look, regardless of
those
that,
of
I
us
think
who are
Wild
first
is making
strike
a different
motherfuckers.
Dirk Wild is making a different point that I think is valid. Okay, there should be some kind of due process. All right, there should be at least an opportunity for somebody who's been accused of something to explain or say, "Hey, I did this. This is not what I was doing. Here's what happened," and present their side of the story and make sure that when the decisions are made, that everybody has that chance. To
Like
I agree
Nero,
with
right?
that. I don't disagree with that.
That's literally, and I agree with you. Once you find that there've been fucks and they're doing fucked, then fucking let and follow through with the number of fucks, but fuck the fucking fucks. And
Well,
just
yeah.
let it go.
The issue is I think CCP time in the past, it's improving now these days. I don't know. Obviously, haven't had issues with it, but in the past, it's been one of those things like, oh, it takes forever to hear back why X and so happened. If it's something like, okay, 24, 48 hour turnaround, you had an answer.
Stump flow.
Okay,
There you
that work. Now it might have improved since days have passed, but
Well,
yeah,
but
I think
then
that'd
look
be
at-
very
if
helpful.
if you actually say a bad word, if you're on even the INN stream and they're hosted by the CCP in ISD sees you said something bad about the ISD, it is within our game contract that we've all signed and we've all agreed in that master for contract, what is the ELA, that if you say anything bad about the ISD, you can be and will be banned and kicked from the game. People, it's not even a old day occurrence. It still happens, right? That level, which is still present on the forums, is why Reddit is a voice, is a thing. Like, these people abuse the power, which is because we're like, well, it's their
Well,
game.
hold on. Are you literally off on Reddit? I literally
Yeah,
went
sorry,
to
I
go
went-
take
I
a
went-
piss,
I
and
went on a
you went
little
off
bit of
on
an
fucking
ISD
Reddit.
rant. I'm
You
sorry,
seem
that
to
was my
be
bad. That was me.
labored under the
That was-
delusion that ISD can ban game accounts.
Wait, hold on, Opoth. You don't
Can
believe me? You don't
Can
think
you
that's
show
true?
me on the doll where ISD touched?
All right.
Yeah, I can actually.
Here's
But,
the
Opoth,
here's the
wait.
thing that all non-Reddit hating motherfuckers need to recognize, right? Not everybody on Reddit is a Chinese fucking hater.
Wait, no, yes, I am.
Why-
Nor
why
I'm on
are
are
they
you
a
Reddit.
fucking
Chinese?
I'm not a
blogger,
hater.
fucking
Yeah, why
promoter.
am I Chinese? But
I love Reddit. Jib knows I love Reddit.
don't-
Why do you
I
hate
don't
the Chinese
read
Reddit,
Reddit.
non-botting hating motherfuckers of the world? Wild.
Oh, this is back to me. Oh, I don't. I love the Chinese. I think they're wonderful. I think they should all come to
But what
Whiteout
about
as
the
well.
non-botting
I like
hating
orange chicken.
motherfuckers?
Oh well, them
of the
I mean,
world.
they need to get a job. I mean, if Mexicans gonna get a job, no, I can't go down this path. I'm sorry. No, I can't. I can't say.
All that being
Sorry,
said,
whoa.
all that being
Hold
said,
on.
Can we understand how this all fucking happens? Can we understand how like all of this goes down where like people are out there saying, "Hey, the other," right? It's like some of those bots, like They don't know.
No,
the bots don't know.
No.
Well, hold on.
I'm not defending bots in the slightest.
Real quick.
What do you mean
there
they
may
don't
be
know?
some people
What
out
do you
there
mean
that
they
know
don't
what the bots know, but like the bots
Dirk,
don't
stop
know.
with your devil's advocate.
Wait, hold on.
bullshit.
So real quick.
Yes, they know what they're doing.
We are
Come on.
we're over time. We should cut it and then move it so
Should
we
we?
can have. Yes, because it makes it
There
so
are
much
people
easier.
out there that say you should never cut it.
Well, but hold on. It makes
No,
it
here's
so
the
much
thing.
easier to separate because last week I had to
Just
go
saying, there are
in
people
and
out
listen
there
to
that
the whole
say.
thing, and I listened
A
to the
lot
whole
of
thing,
people.
and I did have to separate it and put a PSA in there, like saying, before this point, normal show. After this point, we get drunk and dumb. And so when we cut
I
it
believe
and
that
make a
right now
separate
we're
when we
still
make a
being
separate
able to be
broadcast and a
relatively
separate
sane.
recording, it makes it so much easier on my part.
Wow,
I-
remember
I-
that?
We'll do
remember
after
that
dark.
night in the
Let's
fucking
cut it and go to
balcony
the
where
after
two
show.
of us were like,
We'll do after
fucked
dark.
up, and we're sitting there going, nobody knows us like.
All
we
right.
do.
Okay, so we're gonna
Uh,
cut it. We're gonna go after
I'm
dark.
probably
So
move it over 'cause
give
I-
us a couple minutes, and then we'll be on the other channel. You know what? I'm not gonna. I'm gonna shamelessly plug my channel. I'm gonna X up in chat, click on my name, go to my channel, and we'll be there in a sec.
You're
I'm
drunk.
not gonna
Canadian?
sew it as
Was
well.
it drunk Canadian? I can't remember your name.
We should do a shot on the way out, bro. Just like
No, we
Yeah,
do.
yeah. Well, you
You
know
know
what? Hey, yeah, let's
Because-
do that. Just for the bottle. Fuck shot
You know
glasses. Yeah.
my daughter's not home right now. I have no idea.
Hell
where
yeah,
she
dude!
is.
You
Like,
got the whole house to yourself. You're the
and
king.
I'm not even some Amish fucking Mormon motherfucker. It's
You're-
like I just don't know.
Well,
You're the
welcome
king.
to
You're the king of the
Empty Nest
castle
Club.
right now.
So
All right. Good
All
night,
right,
everybody.
well, hold on. We got
see you
later,
like,
later,
when I get back
bitches.
from my
Can you imagine a TV show
See ya,
on
buddy.
HBO that was
2
set
weeks.
Amish Mormons?
Thank you, Bruce.
We'll
Thank
talk
you.
about
Thanks,
that.
Morgan.
Later, bitches. We're out.
You're welcome, Dirk.
We'll be back.
Dunk, sorry.
Go to my channel.
Anytime.
Whatever. All the rest of you later, bitches.